Well, hello everyone. It is February 17th, 2017, and hopefully everybody can hear me. I know my last video has some audio problems, but it sounded fine when I was doing it. I don't know what happened. I did listen to the playback, and through YouTube, it actually does sound a lot lower in volume. So um, I don't know why it's lower in the YouTube playback than it is in Movie Maker, but for some reason it actually is. So I hope you guys can hear me. I have invited a few people to join us. I just got through watching the vast majority of Steve and Some Help, I believe the name of the video was, or the hangout that Ronnie just had, and that he subsequently has deleted. So if anybody has captured that, please let me know. I was going to link it, but unfortunately he did already make it private. I probably, because he actually made a wager of $1,000 that people don't understand ATP synthase as well as he does, including people like CRISPR or Rational or Fiona. But anyways, I think it was kind of funny the things he said in there. It was actually I was kind of laughing as he sat there and still doesn't get anything that I promoted in my video. Anything that I said in my video, he still doesn't understand. It's almost surreal. For example, he doesn't seem to want to grasp that he didn't understand as anything about ATP synthase as much as he thinks he does. He didn't understand that ATP synthase was an enzyme. He was very clear to Jake Herder. When Jake Herder said ATP was an enzyme, he said, no, it's not. It's made of enzymes, but basically he was inferring that it was an enzyme itself. And then he has the audacity to sit there and say that I don't understand that it has subunits and is comprised of enzymes. Ronnie, I don't know where you live, in what planet you are on, but I had biology. I did have to study ATP synthase at one time. I did learn about it. I am very familiar with the fact that it's comprised of subunits. We've talked about it in my own Hangouts multitudes of times. The video that I made was pointing out that Ronnie literally just paraphrases stuff. He goes into Wikipedia and he basically takes chunks of information and spews it out there verbatim. For example, he loves to jargon bomb the same things. For example, like the F1 catalytic converter, which is something you can go find off at Wikipedia. If you look under ATP synthase under Wikipedia, it talks about the catalytic converter and the subunits. I mean, these are things that he just picks up and then says, "I'm going to throw this out there like I know what I'm talking about." And I'm not saying he doesn't understand how ATP synthase works. Sure, he probably does, but it's not that complicated and it's not that high a level. People in basic biology, entry-level biology, probably have a decent understanding of how ATP synthase works. For him to sit there and say that other people don't understand, including Sam and Fiona and the rest of us who have had these discussions in my Hangout, I think he's reached the point of critical mass, of delusional critical mass. Because we have discussed these topics so many times, and yet he has the audacity to think that he, with no formal education whatsoever, seems to understand these topics better than the people with PhDs in the field. He also would sit there and say things like Dr. Ross and Dr. Ranner was agreeing with him word for word, which of course is absurd because, again, I don't think he understands what word for word means. Word for word means literally somebody saying word for word, thus the phrase word for word, what you are. Dr. Ross didn't say word for word what you said. Neither did Dr. Rana. Dr. Rana specifically said that degrade and dissolve are two separate, distinctly different things. He said that they are not the same thing, and one of the things that Ronnie loves to do is to revise history. We all know this. And I think that even his own people should go back and review some of his earlier videos, because the first claim that he ever made, that Fiona has made a video on actually, and she points out very clearly that he made a claim that that when DNA goes into solution, it breaks apart into the nucleotide monomers. So basically it falls apart. He claimed that the phosphodiester bond, which is the bond that's the sugar phosphate backbone, breaks apart. And we all know now that that doesn't happen. We all know now that when DNA goes in the water, the only thing that happens is a little hydrogen ion comes up the OH group from the phosphate group. it doesn't fall apart. It doesn't lose its nucleotide sequence. It doesn't lose its structural integrity. It doesn't fall apart like tissue paper. It doesn't disintegrate. It doesn't break the covalent bonds in the nitrogenous bases, which he's claimed before. It doesn't break the hydrogen bonds between the nucleotides, which he's claimed before. He's claimed all these different things. None of those things happen. And he sat there in this video, and again, I'm sitting there with it, trying to keep a straight face when he sat there and says that he's corrected other people. Who has he corrected on this? There's nobody that has a scientific education in biology that would ever agree with him upon this. No one. No one. And yet he still, in the light of all the overwhelming evidence, would sit there and say, oh, well, I corrected Sam. I've corrected Fiona. And no, by the way, he never did correct Sam in any real fashion. What happened was Ronnie was talking about a proteolipid. He was talking about the wrong enzyme. I think if I remember correctly, he was talking about ATP synthase and not ATP. Excuse me, not F-ATP syntheses. And the whole KDA 16 KDA proteolipid thing, if I understand it correctly, only exists on the V-ATP synthases. But be that as it may, he got the enzyme wrong initially, and he even said that he corrected that. Well, Sam took that and ran with it, so Sam got it wrong too because he wasn't sure which enzyme he was talking about. So, in fact, Ronnie got it wrong, therefore Sam made a minor mistake, and Ronnie plays it up to no end as if he like corrected him on some major thing. So, I just think that's funny that that's what he has to keep going back to. Let's see, what else did he point out in his video? Oh, my favorite thing. I love the fact he still doesn't understand that 2,000 degree water is not going to be water at atmospheric pressure. He just doesn't even remotely understand why you cannot have oceans at 2,000. He just thinks, oh, I don't think it's that high. Well, of course it's not that high. It can't be that high because at atmospheric pressure, you're going to have a superheated steam. It's not going to stay in liquid form. So, anyways, I wanted to have a quick little hangout. If anybody wants to join, the link is here to join. If not, that's fine too. I just wanted to get something out there because I think True basically has gone to the far end of extreme delusions. I would actually be much more interested to talk to anyone in the Clown Car Posse that actually still agrees with True Empiricism, that actually thinks that True Empiricism knows what he's talking about and isn't just jargon bombing and isn't just reading things off Wikipedia sounding like he knows what he's talking about. Those are the people that I would like to have a discussion with because I want them to actually explain what Ronnie is actually claiming, because he has actually said that I misrepresented what he has said to Dr. Rana. Well, no, I didn't. His claim very clearly was degrade and dissolve and disintegrate are all interchangeably and synonymous, and they're not. That's been the thing from day one. So anyways, if anyone wants to come in, that's fine. If not, I'm just going to chill out. I'm actually leveling a new tune here soon. I think I'm going to like level my DK. So if anyone wants to come join me on WoW, I'm going to play for a little while. But if not, come on in. If not, I'll end it soon. But again, I think the video that I made really pointed out the problems that True Empiricism has. Again, sorry for the audio level. I wasn't aware that it was going to be so low when I uploaded it. I did have somebody, watch it. They didn't note to me that the audio level was low. It sounded fine in Movie Maker. It really did. So, again, my computer isn't really high end, and I'm not using really great software to make these videos. But the context, I think, really got to the heart of the matter that True Empiricism is a deliberately lying, delusional piece of shit who rewrites history. He, over and over and over again, refuses to acknowledge his own shortcomings and projects them upon other people. He thinks that I don't understand how ATP synthase works. He just thinks that I don't understand basic biology, which is fine. I don't care if he thinks I understand it or not. But I can certainly say that Fiona understands it exceptionally well. And for him to think that he understands it better than Fiona, that just should point out to the people how just completely delusional he really is. And even it doesn't really matter. I mean, still, even if you don't know shit about ATP synthase, does it really matter? It has nothing to do with the argument, the fact that his intelligence argument is a flawed argument. But he's never really good at looking at argumentations and seeing what's a flawed argument or not. I mean, I pointed out Matt Slick's argument that Alex Malpass had shown very clearly was invalid because it was just a basic tautology. And Ronnie, of course, still thinks it's a brilliant argument. Okay, well, what are you going to do, right? So, I mean, I haven't really talked about Ronnie that much this year, and I hadn't really intended to, but he just out of nowhere made that video, and I was like, well, shit. I mean, I might as well make a response video. I haven't made one in a while. And I try to keep it under 30 minutes, and I kept it exactly at 30 minutes. So as long as he keeps putting this information out, yeah, occasionally I will have to address it. I mean, I think that to ignore it does a disservice because one, it's actually funny, and two, if nobody refutes him, then he's just going to actually think that he's actually knows something and putting the information out. I think we're doing him a disservice because he's actually overstepping his own intellectual capabilities. He doesn't understand these topics. Absolutely, unequivocally doesn't understand these topics. There's nobody, again, in biology or chemistry or bioinformatics or genetics that would ever say DNA degrades in water. And we mean that as in you put DNA in water and it falls apart. Of course, over a long period of time, I've said this, Fiona said this, Dr. Russ said this. Yes, over a long period of time, things will degrade. But that's not what Ronnie's argument was. His argument literally, and I've asked him specifically, if you put DNA in water, as soon as it goes in solution, does it degrade? He's like, yes. That is wrong. That is absolutely unequivocally wrong. Matter of fact, Dragnot just had a video, I think it was this morning, some musings and ramblings, where he's talking about working with DNA and putting it into solution. He screwed up his experiment, but the fact that the DNA doesn't just fall apart when you go into solution is something that he knows because he's done this. Fiona's done this billions of times. Okay, hyperbolic language, but she's definitely done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably maybe thousands of times. So we know for a fact that DNA doesn't degrade in water. He doesn't because he's never done any work with DNA. He's never been in a wet lab. He's never had to put DNA in water and go, oh shit, look, it's not falling apart. It's not losing its nucleotide sequence. We all know this. So, yeah, I know we harp on it a lot, but it's just something that's never going to go away in this community. It just really isn't. It's a staple in this community that Ronnie is literally the dumbest person I've ever seen in the Great Debate community. I can't imagine anybody dumber than he is. Maybe, say, for the exception of Arcane Logos, if you want to consider him part of the Great Debate community. Arcane is dumber than Ronnie. But Ronnie's inability to correct himself, I think, is the high point of his channel. So I don't watch this stuff live. I didn't watch this one live. I actually watched it after the fact. I actually caught the very tail end of it. And then somebody had actually messaged me that he had a video. But at the very end, the audio video died out or something, or he left. I don't know what happened, but it wasn't really working too well for him. So I went back after the video was over and I watched the beginning. And yeah, it wasn't anything that unexpected. I mean, Ronnie's just basically, Steve's wrong. Oh, Fiona's wrong. Sam's wrong. Everybody's wrong. I'm so smart. Well, Ronnie, you're not smart, dude. I mean, you have to face reality here. You're not even remotely intelligent. The fact that you throw out the same old jargon bombing about catalytic cores and proteolipids, dude, get over this shit. Nobody cares. Okay, it's first year college material. Okay, it's not master's level. It's certainly not PhD level. It's basic shit that most people would probably even learn in high school about the electron transport chain. Which, yes, I understand how electron transport chain works. I, again, learned it in college. I don't know why he thinks that it's like something so complex that only the great true empiricism can understand, when he's actually demonstrated that he doesn't understand. He's made many mistakes, basic mistakes. For example, with the whole cytochrome C and the cytochrome C oxidase. He actually said that the oxygen donated electrons. And that would be incorrect. Rational Mind and myself both pointed out to him that that's not how it works. So he, instead of admitting that we were right, he just said, oh, he misspoke. Well, that's fine. If you misspoke, I get that. Not a problem. But the problem is, by you misspeaking, you're actually admitting that we were correct, right? But who is this person, Tony Andrew? I don't know him, but we'll give him a shot because, I'm going to just lower everything. Can't get sniped, so. I don't know who he is. Antonio, who are you? ¿Cómo estás? Yo no sé. Hasta luego. Vayas con Dios. Oh, that was weird. I guess somebody came in to think they can snipe us. Well, you can't snipe me. I'm in, so whatever, dude. Some other news. There's going to be an email I'm going to point out a little bit about Ruhif and Dr. Tompkins are having at it again. Dr. Tompkins actually wrote him an email with actually some okay responses that Ruhif actually has destroyed. So, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to invalidate any studies, and this is Ruhif's words, trying to invalidate any studies that use immortal cell lines, like the cancerous HeLa lines, that have artificially induced fusions in order to study them. He's trying to compare that to the fact that he thinks that there's no possible way that a telomeric to telomeric fusion can happen naturally. Okay, he doesn't think that the chromosome number 2 is a result of a fusion because he calls them mythical. He says telomeric to telomeric fusions don't happen naturally, and they only can happen in these immortal cell lines and cancerous cells. That's not true. And as Ruhif points out to him, the muntjac deer, an ant, and a few other species, they have remnants of these telomeric fusions in nature. So I'm gonna have a hang on that and show you guys that email because I asked Ruhif if I could. He said fine. I think it's interesting because Dr. Tompkins is really, really going on a limb here. I mean, how are you going to compare cancerous tumors that also obviously have a problem with the telomerase? And if the problem with there's a telomerase problem, that the telomeres are going to be not pristine. They're going to have a problem with the telomeres. They're going to be shortened. You're going to have a shortening of the telomere each time the cell replicates. And each time the cell replicates, there's a higher chance of something going wrong because you have a smaller telomere on the end of the chromosome. That can result in a chromosomal fusion. That is why you can have chromosomal fusions very likely in a cancerous situation, because each time a cell divides, that telomere gets shortened smaller and smaller, and if telomerase can't fix it, which is the enzyme that produces the telomeres, then yes, you're going to have a telomeric fusion, or you could. Well, his argument is that that doesn't happen naturally. But we have pointed out to him in numerous species, we know it has happened before. So we can go back and show him those papers. So hopefully they'll reach ahead and Dr. Tompkins will just say, you know what, fine, I'll come into our hangout and I'll discuss this with you one-on-one or bidirectionally, because everything they've had kind of right now is kind of some kind of a unilateral thing. Dr. Tompkins doesn't want to have a two-way communication verbally, it seems. So anyways, hey, Tony, welcome.
Welcome.
Sorry, I'm talking quickly because I'm also, like I said, I want to farm some stuff and I want to get to my DK to start leveling them.
Oh, come on, don't make excuses. You're just a rattler.
I do.
Just rattle those words out of your mouth, just like that. And I just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes.
I only
like
came
Ronnie
in just
said.
to actually say I did actually watch it live.
Did you?
His how to actually put it?
Full of shit?
His application of butthurt cream. Because really the whole thing was basically him trying to make excuses. Well, it wasn't him making excuses. He was really saying they just don't know what they're talking about.
That's all it was. He didn't explain
and of course
why
I was in
we
the
didn't know
side
what we were
chat
talking
giving
about.
the reason you're only seeing the people that haven't got PhDs is because you blocked the PhDs.
Right.
Now, why would you block the PhDs if you're after equal standing conversation? And the reason for that is because he can't get equal standing conversation because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, I'd like to know what we're wrong on. I mean, when I said that I don't know of a single situation where he has corrected a scientist or corrected somebody that knows what they're talking about in science, I mean that literally. I don't know. There was that minor thing with Sam, but again, that was very, very minor. And Sam, I don't think Sam was actually that wrong. He just misunderstood what Ronnie was saying because Ronnie wasn't clear what he was saying. That wasn't Sam's fault by any stretch of the imagination.
I actually believe that was a piece of misinformation by, confusion between the two of them, because Sam was thinking he was talking about something else. And so Sam was answering concerning what he thought he was talking about.
Right. There was not a meeting in the mind. They weren't on the same page.
Yeah. No. Once he actually tweaked, though, he admitted that he was wrong concerning what he was talking about. But then he was on board with the rest of the conversation. So the I'm wrong or you've corrected me was actually the correction of the location, shall we say, of the conversation, or the actual aspect of that conversation, because it was taking part in two different places. I know that sounds really odd, but and plus I don't know enough about the subject to actually say
That's
whether
exactly
he
what
was
happened.
right or
They
wrong.
weren't talking about the same enzyme.
Yeah, yeah, and it's that's the thing that he failed. I mean, I've noticed this about true empiricism. Well, actually, the CCP. If they get an apology from someone, they'll bend it to actually make it. Oh yeah, I've proven this person wrong, and then miss out the bit that was the confusion that caused the misunderstanding. And so far, true empiricism hasn't actually admitted. All he's saying is that he's corrected PhDs.
Yeah, but
It's gone
in what though?
from one confusion to it's corrected them all.
Yeah, I mean,
Us
how
all.
can he correct anybody when he doesn't understand simple concepts like 2,000 degree water? Wouldn't it be water? Atmospheric pressure. How could he correct anyone if he doesn't understand that DNA does not degrade in water? How can
Yeah,
he
you
correct
do that.
anyone if he doesn't? If he just basically has a tertiary understanding of ATP synthase? And I was funny as he deleted his video, but he did offer $1,000 to anybody who can demonstrate a higher degree of competency with an understanding with ATP synthase than him. Well, I'll tell you what. I will. I mean, I will take him up on that offer. If he wants to have a bet, if he wants to give me $1,000, he's not going to bet. He said he'll give $1,000. So I'll tell you what, I will take him up on that offer. You give me a week, and I will study my little heart out on ATP synthase, and we'll have a panel of 5 people, 5 scientists asking questions about ATP synthase, unbeknownst to either one of us, right? And we'll see who can answer them better.
Yeah, but
And that'll include the whole electron transport chain.
That seeing as $1,000 is coming from him, and he can't admit to ever being wrong, you'll never get $1,000.
That's true. But I mean, I've already displayed I have a competency of basic biology in ETC, ATP. I mean, we've talked about it so many times on my channel. I even tried to help Drag when he was first learning it. Now he understands it extremely well. I had to relearn it kind of myself, so we were kind of learning it together, saying, oh, okay, this is what complex 1 does. This is what complex 2 does. So, we have a basal understanding of it. So, for him to sit there and say we don't grasp it, it's not that terribly complicated, right?
Well, I mean,
it doesn't take a
I would
PhD to
start
understand the
looking into
simplest
this
simple
stuff if it
aspect of
actually
it.
interested me, but unfortunately it doesn't. What does interest me is the fact that I know the people that have spent time in this know what they're talking about and haven't yet. When they've got into heated conversations, in other words, I'm talking about scientist Sam and Fiona and Drag. When they've got into heated conversation, they've all came to the same conclusion. In the end, it's taken a bit of ruffling of feathers to get there because maybe there's a slight bit of confusion, but they've all come to the same conclusion at the end.
Well, that's what's funny too. Like you said, every science person I know, save for a minor thing, and I would say maybe some people that remember the Clown Car like Sean has some science background, maybe, but he is a member of the Clown Car Posse. But everybody else, nobody agrees with Ronnie on these things. Nobody.
No, well, that's the thing. Nobody so far has agreed with Ronnie. Ronnie is the only one that has his point of view. And that should be the big red button, oh, not red button, what am I saying? Warning flag, red flag, that actually tells Ronnie he's got something wrong. But again, it comes back to Ronnie is unable to admit that he's wrong. And that's Ronnie's big stone that he's carrying around in his shoe. And it must be bloody painful because he keeps stepping on it all the time. And I just don't understand how he can sit there all puffed up like and actually say that everyone else is wrong. They don't understand it the same way as he does. And if someone comes along that does understand it, he blocks them. There's so many red flags there for him to actually say, oh, I've got something wrong here. But he's not taking them. And all the time while he's doing that, he'll just sink further and further into his grease paint and become more of a clown. He's got to admit to it's got to actually have the ability to actually say, yeah, I got that wrong, and take it on the chin and move on.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
No, that's never going to happen. And that's the only reason he's going to keep getting views, is because people are waiting for the next cock up to come.
Well, that's what he doesn't understand. I mean, first of all, I don't have multiple sock accounts, which he keeps claiming me I have sock accounts. I don't. I have one.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. In
Yeah,
the
I mean, I
video as
don't. I
well.
have one sock account, and the fact that he had Suzuki Das apologize to claim, to apologize to him for claiming that he had 16 accounts, and Suzuki Das was man enough to do it. And I do agree that Suzuki Das was probably right. I think he probably does have multiple sock accounts, but he couldn't substantiate his claim. I get that. Well, Ronnie can't either. Ronnie, demonstrate that I have even more than one stock account. Please do. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. Do whatever you hack me. I don't care. I did not vote for you multiple different times. I voted for you once. Maybe I might have used dogs last time. I don't remember. But I can guarantee it certainly wasn't more than 2 if that was the case. I don't have more than that stock accounts. The reason you got so many votes is because we had videos on it and Hangouts. And we was telling people about this. We posted on Facebook. We posted on G+. We posted on Twitter. A LeMed student has his students watch your videos and vote for you. So, I mean, yes, there was a collaborative effort to make you Dumb Fuck of the Year because you've earned it. But I tell you what, even if none of that happened, you still would have won by a landslide, Ronnie. You are the Dumb Fuck of the Year. And if you weren't ineligible for this year, you would win it again this year because there's not too many people in this community that are dumber than you, that are a bigger Dumb Fuck than you. There's not a lot of them. G-Man, perhaps. Antonio.
Oh, he's already won it.
Perhaps. But G-Man's already won it too, so he's ineligible.
So we are going to be digging the bottom of the barrel or digging into flat earthers next year.
I don't want to go down that route. I'm trying to get my game capture in here, but it's not working too well. Can you guys? I don't want to make this full screen. Is it showing the game or is it showing the Hangout right now, guys?
Hold on a minute. I'll just switch over.
Because I mean, I want a small screen like I had it before, but I don't know how to do that. It did work.
Hold on, mine's stalled for some reason.
Let's see, game capture.
Nope, it's just showing black screen with me in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I have. Let's see, game capture minus. Well, I'll figure it out while we're talking. I guess I can do window capture. No. I had it before. I don't know. Let me try different.
Yeah, True was in the chat.
Yeah, I saw him towards Z or something. I don't know. I wasn't really watching.
Yeah, he just posted Z.
I'm playing my game, but he thinks I'm like having these notes or something. I don't have notes in front of me. I mean, yeah, I've used notes when we've had our discussions in my own Hangouts with Fiona and stuff like that, so I can keep up. But no, I don't need notes when it comes to something as basic as the structure of ATP synthase. We've looked at it so many different times. You can go to a picture of ATP synthase. I've used it in my videos. So I understand there's subunits. Ronnie, it's not that terribly complicated. How can I make this work? Now I'm bugged. You ever get one of those things in your head, it's like, okay, why is this not working? Any full screen application. I don't know how to make this work.
Well, I think I did see about 2 minutes ago a flash of a game screen come up, but
did you?
Yeah, but that was it. It was literally just a flash, and it was gone.
Well, I just want to have it windowed. I don't want to have it full. I mean, it's okay if it is, but
well, it windowed. No, it just windowed over the top of the window you've got there. So, the window that's got the chat in. Oh no, that's what I saw. Sorry. I just saw the your background screen flash up.
Well, like I said, I don't want the whole screen. I just want it small. I'm just out here killing stuff on my mage.
I need a target.
I got some world quest to do. I like the fact that it's free now if you have gold, and I have lots of gold, so I don't have to pay for this because I'm poor. God dang it! This
Free's
is
always
me.
best if you can get away with it.
Yeah, it's a lot of gold, but you earn so much gold a day. It really isn't that huge amount.
Oh, sorry. I see what you're talking about the game.
The game. Yeah, no, the game costs usually like $13 a month, but you can pay for it using in-game gold, and I easily get that amount of month gold because I farm a lot, and so I just pay for the game by using the in-game gold, which is nice.
I see.
What
I
else did
wouldn't
Ronnie
know.
have
I
in this
wouldn't
video?
know
Again,
because I'm not
it kept dropping out, and I kept, just kind of fast forwarding a little bit. I mean, everybody knows by now that he's wrong about the DNA. Everybody knows he's wrong about he's never corrected a scientist. Everybody knows he completely misrepresented what Dr. Rana and Dr. Ross said. Yes, I mean, Dr. Ross said he didn't see a difference, and I get that. But Dr. Ross isn't a biochemist. That's why he said ask the biochemist in the room. And Dr.
Yep.
Rana, even though we had to go back to the first video, which, by the way, there was no intent of deception there. I've actually noted, going back to the first video, the first time he had joined us, he had actually said very clearly that they are not the same thing. So, Ronnie, DNA and dissolve are not the same thing. And one of the questions I'd asked him in one of his hangouts, if I can't go back and maybe find it, just to let you know, I had asked him, Ronnie, is dissolve and degrade the same thing? He's like, yes. No. And in fact, he's had multiple videos on his own channel showing dictionary definitions saying, oh, look, dissolve and degrade are the same thing. No, you fucking moron. They are not the same thing. They have never been the same thing. Nobody in their right mind would think they're the same thing. Anybody who's had high school chemistry would not think they're the same thing. You're the only person in the entire fucking planet that think degrade and dissolve means the same exact thing.
Yeah, well,
The only
he
person on
even
the planet.
repeated that.
And the rest
He
of his
repeated
plan for
that
velocity.
in his hangout tonight.
He said what?
He keeps interchanging dissolve and degrade. And unfortunately, he hasn't seemed to have taken on board that they are two different things. And even I will admit that they are two different things. And I don't know a lot about chemistry, but I do understand the definitions of the word and what happens. Degrade is a breaking down, and dissolve is making into solution.
Right, that's exactly it. See, not
That's
that
it.
complicated,
You are
right?
no match for the
Now, again, we've
Tyrannosaurus.
all said that because its DNA is an acid, it will lose that hydrogen ion. Matter of fact, what's funny was Ronnie, when he first started talking about this, kept talking about what's called a partial negative charge on the sugar phosphate backbone, right? Well, the funniest thing about that is he actually got that from a Yahoo Q&A, right? That wasn't exactly right, because he kept calling it a partial negative charge, because that's what the guy said. He responded as calling it a partial negative charge. But in that particular instance, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't think that's a partial negative charge. That's a full negative charge. I think the guy just made a mistake, and Ronnie just promulgated that mistake because he literally read it verbatim off Yahoo Q&A. So if somebody wants to acknowledge that or let me know if that's correct or not, I'll look at the live video in a moment. Now, can you see the WoW game? What is it showing? Okay, is it showing it full screen?
Yeah.
I don't want it full screen, though. I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you guys already know we're having a hangout, so. But, so yeah, I mean, I can literally go back and find instances of him using the same exact vernacular multitude of different times. He did it at the League of Reason, right? When he's talking about coordinated functions or something. That literally was something he said numerous times. He's scripted. The fact he keeps talking about the F1 catalytic converter. That F1 V1A1 catalytic converter comes right out of freaking Wikipedia. Go look at ATP synthase subunits under
You are
Wikipedia.
no match for the Tyrannosaurus.
It's just paraphrased. He doesn't have a conceptual understanding. He has a Wikipedian understanding of these things.
So basically, what you're saying is C. Brown is the understudy of True Empiricism.
You know, I'm almost at the point where I think C. Brown may. Or how about this? I'm going to say this. I think C. Brown may have the potentiality to maybe understand some of these concepts better than Ronnie. But I'm being very, very generous in my saying that.
I think
Right.
you're being overly generous.
Well, I don't think C. Brown is like a complete moron as compared to Ronnie. I think he's stupid, don't get me wrong. But I think that if he really studied and he really wanted to learn some of this stuff, he could. But you know what? I made that mistake before. I said the same thing about Ronnie at one time. Boy, was I wrong on that. So, but at least I can admit when I'm wrong. I'm fine with that.
Inventory is
I don't
Yeah,
mind
I'm
that
sorry.
at all.
You almost made me waste a perfectly good vape there.
My inventory keeps getting full. I get all these freaking charm bracelets because it's a weekend event, and I haven't turned them in yet. You know what? I'm going to go do that now because I'm not going to be out here farming when I can't have any bag space. If you guys play WoW, do you guys like to see the way I did my bartender? I changed a bunch of stuff. But all right, so I'm earthing back. So now I'm back in my main screen, right? Let me check my main feed. We still have 23 people watching.
No, you're still playing the game.
Well, it takes a 15-second lag. All right, so let me read the
Oh, yeah,
live feed
sorry.
here.
Yeah, I keep forgetting this is Hangouts, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not an instant thing.
Hey Tyler Durton. Hey, you want to take Ronnie up? He'll pay you $1,000 if you can demonstrate you have a higher degree of competency in the understanding of ATP synthase than he does. You're not seeing anything on G Plus when I host a Hangout. You should. It should come up on my YouTube. I didn't actually note this in the G Plus. I could, if you would like me to do that. Matter of fact, I can do that right now if anybody cares. So, but can we get some people in here? Because if you want to join us while I'm doing this, or not.
Or not.
It doesn't matter now. Anyway, so moving on. Let's see here, Tyler. He continues to double down the 2,000 degree water. He said the oceans could be between 170 degrees Fahrenheit and 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit because of greenhouse gases. No, Ronnie. No. That's not going to happen. 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. 2,000 degrees Celsius, I believe, is probably a little over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not looking it up, but if I remember correctly, it's probably around 3,100. Is that right, Tyler? You can look. Okay, 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit is pretty damn hot. You cannot have that kind of water temperature at atmospheric pressure. It's going to boil away. It's going to be superheated vapor at that point. You have to have some kind of pressure on it. And by ideology, using his model, he extrapolated some data points. He calculated it to be about 27 gigapascals. That's a lot of damn pressure. See, Ronnie doesn't understand basic physics, right?
You don't think he's been watching the deep water geysers and has got confused about what atmospheric pressure is?
I have no idea. And then Tyler says, yeah, it's a negative charge, and that's why
temperatures.
That's why they use salt to take it out of solution, right? Because salt will neutralize that ion charge, and it'll precipitate it out of solution, right, Tyler, if I remember correctly? Yeah, I don't know where I don't know why he keeps parroting the Yahoo answer that it's a partial negative charge. I've never read anywhere else that it's a partial negative charge. But again, if somebody could point out that I'm fine. Maybe it is a partial negative charge. I don't think it is though. I'm pretty sure it's a full negative charge.
Pleasure doing business with ya.
But I think that's kind of a minor point as compared to all the other faux pas he's had.
Yeah.
Look at it. I got inventory space now.
Be good.
I got so many of these things. It's building your bag during these events. You know. What's that?
Just Sarah making a comment.
What is she saying in the live feed? Or he's saying, Sarah's. I think Sarah's actually a guy. I think that his pictures of his wife or something, or she's a lesbian. I don't know, one or the other. I never really inquired. Sarah, you a dude or a girl? I don't really care one way or another, but just future reference. But what did Sarah say?
For the Alliance above
Tony?
all.
Pardon? Oh, she says she hasn't answered your question.
About what? Oh. No, what was she saying earlier? Why'd you bring her name up?
Too busy arguing with Tyler, which is it's funny. That's right.
Yeah, I saw, like I said, I got the very end of Ronnie's Hangout, and I saw Tyler in there. And again, I think most people just kind of tuned out. Most people are losing their mind. Oh, you know what? I'm going to finish some other quick questions.
She says she's a lesbian.
Okay, that's right. Okay, maybe, see, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to, like say for certain, but hey, I love lesbians, you know. Now,
and there's nothing wrong with lesbians.
Nothing wrong. Oh, lesbians are awesome. Yeah, I'm fine with lesbians. You know.
Tyler says he's a lesbian too.
Yeah, we're all lesbian. Did I want to go? Yeah, I want to go here. So, Tony, did you watch the actual video that he had? I mean, again, he deleted it probably because he was like, there's a lot of people in this community that probably do know more about this, and I want to give him $1,000. Not that he would anyways, right?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he said, I'll give $1,000 if anybody can show they know more about ATP synthase than me or something. It's like, fuck, dude. I don't know what his hard-on is with ATP synthase. It's such a minor freaking thing. It's a small part of biology, something literally you learn in the first year.
Yeah, but doesn't it fit in with his turbines argument?
Yes, and that's why I wanted to have a debate with him, showing that a steam turbine is really not really that analogous or comparable to ATP synthase. Yes, ATP synthase is a motor. It's called a proton motor. But if you want to talk about turbines, when you say turbine, you really are thinking something along the lines of something that converts steam, right, into mechanical energy. You're taking the enthalpy energy in the steam, and you're going the wrong way, and you're using it to create a rotational energy. You're doing it through blades, different stages,
That's right.
like through what's called Curtis stages or reaction stages or Rateau stages. These things change the pressure and change the velocity. The velocity of the steam will go down, the pressure goes down, because you want, at the very end, to have as much extraction from the energy of the steam as possible. And you want to do it in stages so you don't produce a lot of water. Because what happens if you're traveling at 30,000 RPM and you have water impingement on the blades? It's bad,
Well,
right? It's really, really bad. Actually, it'll destroy your turbine, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want condensation at the end. You want it to have a very, very low amount of moisture, and you want it to be an atmospheric pressure of the condenser.
Horden of Clonbronsburg at your service.
Again, I was going to demonstrate this. I had all my Moliere diagrams. I had my different pictures of turbines and different staging to explain how that works. And then say, okay, what is analogous here to a proton turbine? Yeah, okay, sure. They're both called turbines, but so what? We call a lot of things the same things. I mean, a motor in electrical is something that uses magnets and the flow of current to turn something, right? Converts it into rotational energy. That's a motor. So if I say, Tony, picture a electrical motor in your head, you could do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But if I say ATP is a motor, right? Are you really going to think it's some kind of electrical or using magnets? No. In fact, you don't probably know what a proton motor is, but it doesn't matter.
For one, I know it's a biological thing, and a motor. From my understanding of a motor, an electrical motor, that is, because that's what I've got pictured in my head at the moment. I didn't come up with an internal combustion engine. Which people call motors for some reason.
Well, it's a motor because it changes it into rotational energy. That's all.
Yeah, well, I mean,
hey,
but then
I figured
again,
it out.
He could have used the term.
Wait! I figured it out.
Used the term rotor for what he wanted.
Well, it's just something that rotates, right? I mean, because it does rotate. Now it doesn't have to have a full screen anymore. I can actually do it this way. I can do it windowed. I figured it out. So you can see what I'm actually doing while I'm talking. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that he could have used the term rotor and been probably more accurate.
Well,
because he's just talking about something that rotates.
Well, it's so funny. He's talking about word games as semantics, but that's exactly what he's doing. He's just...
I think what he was trying to do is because he sees a turbine as being more complicated, more complex. That was what he was after. He's after actually making the thing that he's talking about really complex as well. So that's what he's after. But he's willing to try to make this thing more complicated than it is. At the end of the day, that's what it.
Well, literally, is projection, because again, just because we use the word motor or turbine to describe the two different things doesn't mean they're the same thing. Generally speaking, like I said, they both rotate, but that's the only thing they have in common. A turbine rotates. The F1 catalytic core that he loves to talk about, that produces the rotation, that's not doing it by steam. It's not the same as a mechanical turbine when it comes to what we normally would say, okay, this is a turbine. But or proton pump or whatever you want to call it. Well, actually, it's different. Proton pumps in your stomach, but it's just words we use, right? The concept is what I'm more interested in, right? Is ATP synthase conceptually a turbine as what we consider to be a turbine? No, and that's why I wasn't going to debate him on that. But then what happened was he agreed, and then he wanted to change it to, oh well, if Steve wants to do that, then let's make it about evolution. I'm like, oh Jesus, dude. And he did that after he already accepted the terms. So
yeah, unfortunately, it's the same thing. I've seen this with a lot of the clown car posse when they agree to debate someone, and it all comes out in what needs to be discussed. They will change it and then they'll change it again, and then they'll change it again, until eventually you're not having a debate with them because you can't get them to actually decide on a topic.
Well, Nephilim 3 is infamous for that, dude.
They go through many, many stages until they actually get to the conversation that they want to have, which is not the conversation you want to have.
That's what they all do. That's what Nephilim tries to do. That's what Ronnie's tried to do. And it's not that we are ever scared of these guys to have a conversation with them. Matter of fact, again, my room's been open to them from day one. They're scared to come in here. But it's just so a vast concept, right? Going from evolution and creationism, that I don't want to have a debate like that because I've already had one. I've already demonstrated that macroevolution does exist. I don't feel the need that that's something that needs to be debatable because this is not a debatable issue. I'd be bored by it. And they keep wanting to turn it back on that because they can gish gallop and they can throw shit out there and shotgun and not talk about the specific things. This was a specific thing. Right? And this was a good debatable topic. Is ATP synthase comparable to a turbine? Does it have more things in common or less things in common? That's something we can actually debate. I thought it would have been interesting, but of course he fucked that one up.
Yeah, but he's the trouble is he hasn't got anything to back that up, and you know he will dodge that because of the lack of things they have in common. You know that's the case. He's not going to do that. And once if you do agree on that, he'll quickly change the conversation within the debate.
Well, that's why I would have had a moderator so he doesn't do that, right?
They don't, let's face it, they don't have debates.
No.
I mean, they have attacking conversations, basically.
Well, I mean, I would still, to this day, I would still have loved to have Ronnie come in here and actually answer questions and really answer questions specifically. I would have specific ones and say, okay, Ronnie, is dissolve and degrade same thing? Can I use them interchangeably? He said numerous times yes, and then he's like, oh, Steve misrepresented my position. Well, bullshit. How can I misrepresent your position if that's what you've said, Ronnie?
Yeah.
You can't misrepresent somebody who said that numerous times. Yes, degrade and dissolve are the same thing. No, they're not.
Yeah. Sorry. There's some Mr. Crust has pointed out that T focuses on science because it's a red herring. It's a distraction from zero evidence of a designer.
That might be true.
And then someone else pointed out, Tyler pointed out that negation of P embarrassed the hell out of him by agreeing to all of his claims and then asking about the God claim.
Let me see. I'm looking at the live feed right now while I'm zoning. Sarah says he has too many enablers who don't understand this subject, but are fueling his will to go on. I agree. He does have a lot of enablers that, like Matthew, Ecclesiastes, and Veckel, and Antonio. These guys don't know anything, and they do enable him. So I agree with you. Hannah said, I watch the video all the time. I guarantee 1,000 of those views are for me. Oh, the negation of P video? I love that video as well. He still goes back and says, oh, well, he won that debate.
Yeah. Don't they all, though? even G-Man says that. Oh, yeah, I won that debate.
Oh, my God.
Crushed.
Ronnie got crushed in that debate. And the reason he got crushed is pretty simple. Negation of P is a very smart guy, right? And Ned had said that he was basically going to give Ronnie everything. All he had to do was come up with a linchpin to finish his argument. And his argument was basically that if intelligent design is true, atheism can't be true. He never made that connection. He never understood that intelligent design, in and of itself being the case, doesn't necessarily make there be a God there. Right? And because that's the intelligent design position anyways. There doesn't have to be a God. They even said this. Now, I disagree with them. I think that they are lying about that, and I think that they are basically wanting it to be a God, and they just don't want to have to admit that they want it to be a God, because then they fall into creationism and has all these separation church and state problems, which they will have anyways because of the intelligent design. But Ronnie doesn't seem to understand that atheism is just you don't believe there's a God. That's what it is. I mean, there's different ways of phrasing it, but it boils down to somebody who doesn't believe there's a God or gods. What does that got to do with the fact that if intelligent design is true, atheism is not true? You can't make that correlation there. You can't make that lynch pin happen because there can be intelligence line theoretically, and still not have to be a deity. Raiding tonight's raid night. Oh, it is raid night, guys. Oh shit.
Yeah, Grey Knight.
Oh, is it 7 o'clock tonight? Oh shit. Oh damn. Well, you know what? I don't really have to listen to the raid. I can do raid. Do you guys want to continue? Because we're doing normal Violet Hole tonight. It's a 25-man raid. I need 3 more, and it takes several hours. But I can't talk for several hours. But I can turn this into raid night if people want to watch it. I mean, we have people watching us now, but you guys got to come. If you guys want to continue to talk, that's fine. Steve, there's 2 layers of Manicam. Put window in the BG and just use the picture-in-picture with a small square. What's wrong with the way it looks now, Cause? I mean, I kind of think this is fine. I have Manicam, but I tell you what, I'm gonna leave this open for a little while because we do have people watching. We can carry on the conversation. I won't find the voice in the raid group, but hang on. Oh, we got a guest. Oh, yay! No, not Violet Hold. Night Hold. Not VH. NH. Yeah. Sorry, Joel. Thank you, Jules. Did I say Violet Hold? I just did that the other day. So, yeah, Night Hold. We're doing raid Night Hold. Let me tell them that can't be in chat. Hey, multiple personality, are you in here?
Hello. Hey, yes. What's going on?
Oh, I just wanted to quickly address Ronnie's delusions. I mean, he doesn't even sound like he believes his own bullshit. I mean, seriously, listen to his voice. He doesn't even sound like he believes his own bullshit anymore. And then he sits there and has the audacity that to say that the people are like, oh, they're realizing that Steve and the rest of the science people out there, they're wrong. Well, no, they're not, Ronnie. In fact, more and more people are coming to the conclusion that you're absolutely full of shit. You have been the biggest bullshit artist I've ever ran across of all time. Nobody takes you seriously with any scientific credentials, and I think that bothers him. In fact, I know it bothers him. So he has to, instead of actually learning this stuff and actually wanting to better himself, the only thing he has at his disposal is trying to diminish other people and lower them. I mean, look what he does. I mean, Steve doesn't know what he's talking about. J.D. Kane doesn't know what he's talking about. Sam doesn't know what he's talking about. Fiona doesn't know what she's talking about.
Your blood
or even
off my
Hantai,
blade,
right?
Just like
so
the rest.
that's all he has in his arsenal is just keeps throwing out there, oh, well, these guys are just wrong. Okay, fine. What are we wrong about? I would love to know, because he has never given me a straight answer what I've been wrong about.
You know, one of the problems that I seem to realize, because I was going to hang out with him the other day, and it was interesting because he defined theism as not believing in a creator God. And I remember he was on the Atheist Experience with Matt Dillahunty, and he said that same thing, and Dillahunty was saying, no, theism is just a belief in God. It's not, you don't have to believe in a creator deity. But it seems like even when he's corrected, he doesn't. It's like he doesn't care. It's like he doesn't. Usually, people would go back and say, "Okay, how am I wrong? Or what am I?" But it seems like in this particular situation, he thinks he already knows the answer, and that's dangerous because if you already know the answer, you can't learn anything. And I think that's the block that you keep running up against, because it's the same arguments over and over again, and nobody's learning anything. It's just like,
Well, we've been there to help people understand these arguments. I mean, we've had too many hangouts probably on the whole DNA degrading in water thing, human chromosome numbers 2. There's not much else I think we can go over. People to understand it by now, they can ask in private. But I think the vast majority of the Great Debate community all understand that DNA doesn't degrade in water. I think that he is the only lone holdout, besides a few of the clown car posse that just I think, agree with him for the sake of agreeing. But I
You
would
would have to
love.
be insane to believe that. You'd have to be. It's like almost insanity now. All the evidence that you guys have provided to show that that's a false claim. I don't know how somebody can still hold to that belief.
Well, I would love for him to produce a single scientist, a biologist, chemist, or a related field, a very related field, that will come on air to say that degrade and dissolve are synonymous, and that when DNA goes in dilution, it loses its nucleotide sequence. By the way, I'm going to look like an idiot on this one because this one's very hard, and it took me like 20 tries to do last time, at least. So this particular quest is very difficult. I should have Jules do it. Jules, log on my tune and do it for me. This one's really hard. You got to like skip. You got to like bounce over here, then bounce over there, and go around this thing. And
Where is everybody tonight, though? This is pretty empty in here.
They got a lot of listeners, but they're just not wanting to come in.
I was wondering, well, to be honest with you, it's beating this true empiricism, thing. It's just like, been there, done that. How many times are we going to ring this bell again?
Well, oh shit! I almost had it. Oh wait. Oh god, I almost had it. I'm halfway through it though. Well, that's why. I mean, I don't go into too much detail on it anymore. I mean, he had a funny little video that he put out today that he already deleted, and I just laughed so hard listening to it because he's just so unaware of his own inability to grasp concepts, and then he puts it on other people saying that everybody else is stupid. We don't know how much more.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he has to, if he wants to start being taken serious, I'm talking about serious in the sense of biology and life sciences, he needs to probably just do a little more research and do actual research and see what the science says.
Or take some courses, right? I mean, I at least had taken biology, and I've taken some other courses. He hasn't, and everything he's learned literally has been out of a nursing book and out of Wikipedia. Now, I don't mind that. I mean, like I said, I don't care. But the fact that he's actually trying to correct other people who have had some kind of education in this, that's troublesome because he's not right. He's telling misinformation. He's completely wrong. And again, the worst part is it's just so trivial. It's basic stuff. It's not even that advanced stuff. Okay, where do I got to go to finish this? I'm trying to find the other little bolt here. I forget. Is that it down there? No, wait.
But the weird part about it is I don't feel like he's trying to do it. I don't think he's doing it intentionally. I don't think. I just think it's closed-mindedness. Yeah, I really do. I think it's closed-mindedness. I really, really do. Like the other day, I was in a hangout with Antonio and Darwin and everything, and they kept telling me that that I'm. In other words, they're saying that I was lying. I was just saying that I don't believe in God because there's all this great evidence, and if you don't believe, it's just because you just deny God. And I was trying to explain to them that I thought that was it's sad to say that you guys think I'm sitting here and lying to you when I say I don't believe in a fairy tale. I don't believe it's real. You guys got to convince me. Show me something to convince me.
Right.
But I think it's easier to think you're lying about it.
I almost made it. You got to remember that they believe that everybody believes God exists or knows God exists. They're just denying in their own, self-righteousness or whatever the hell they say it is. That's what they believe. They believe that if you say God doesn't exist, you're lying. Because according to their understanding of Romans, you have to be lying because they are told that everybody has a knowledge of God's existence. Ah, shit, it's so close.
What game are you playing?
Well.
What are you playing?
World of Warcraft. This is like the hardest freaking one. It's a Kirin Tor world quest, and you've got to it's a puzzle, and you got to oh wait, I made it, I won, I did it, yay! That one's hard. Seriously, man, that was no joke. That one took me, God, at least 20 minutes, maybe even a half hour to figure out where I needed to go to get that one accomplished. So we're doing a raid night tonight. We're doing Nighthold, so. But,
you said 7. It's about that time, right? So it's 7 o'clock where you're at.
So I don't need to be in voice with them. All I need to know is when they're pulling.
Yeah, well, I wonder where everybody's at, though.
Or anything.
This is a little strange, though, because I know everybody was dying for a hangout earlier, but now it's like there's nobody around.
All they got to do is ask me and say, "Hey, Steve, want to throw a hangout up?" I'm 9 times out of 10, I probably will be like, "Fine, I'll throw a hangout up." Now that I've got OBS and it's not memory intensive, I can actually do multiple different things. Oh, I can't do that in a
They
raid group.
left Gilneas before
Some of these,
falling.
like,
Oh, so now you can still get 25. You still can get 25 people in here like last time, or?
Yeah.
Raven Crest's thugs.
Oh wow, that's
Their
pretty awesome. And no
village
sniping,
needs
right?
your protection.
Yeah, you can't get sniped.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think we already had somebody try.
That must have been funny.
Well, they came in, and where do I gotta go here? This one. I gotta do Wardens in Quest. Or in a raid group. Some of these you can't do when you're in a raid group. Although I don't really need to be in a raid group when you got 4 people. They haven't formed yet. They haven't formed the raid. It takes 25 people to do this raid.
I'm trying to watch this Trump thing too. I'm talking to you. Trump is, it's funny. The thing is just so entertaining. I know Trump scares everyone, but he is just so entertaining. It's hilarious
You know
to
what?
watch.
I said let the world burn, and I still agree with that. I mean, I'm thinking that a lot of this is going to actually be beneficial because it's going to bring a lot of things to the forefront, especially with the problems that Trump has in science. Because I mean, let's admit it, science is not Trump's thing, right? I mean, he is science.
Of course not.
So I think that it's actually going to be a huge backlash. And I think that science-minded people that don't want this intelligent design and younger creationist shit promoted in school are going to collectively get together, and we're going to see a lot of protests. And we're going to see a lot of people pushing for actual science. And I think it's going to have a net positive effect. At least I'm hoping, right?
Well, that's what I think somebody on CNN was saying that the other day too. That Trump winning is probably the best thing that could have happened to the Democratic Party, because
By far.
it forces it's going to add a lot more Democrats to the voting rolls. Not because Hillary Clinton was such a great candidate, or Trump is just so bad that people are just midterm elections are going to be crazy.
No, I couldn't agree more. But again, the Democrats, the DNC, threw away their chance to, put a decent political candidate for a nomination for president. So I don't know if they're going to learn anything. Historically speaking, the DNC has not learned from their mistakes.
The DNC, what happens is that it seems like they don't. It doesn't feel like they fight as hard as the Republicans do. They're more, let's do things together, let's work together. At a point, it's like, no, you're trying to destroy the planet. No, we can't work together with someone who doesn't believe climate change is real. No, we can't. There's certain things that you can't be too liberal about. You got to take a stand.
Yeah.
Right now,
I
unfortunately.
get that. Yeah.
But you weren't really a Hillary Clinton fan anyway, by
Oh,
any
no, you're
means.
close. I hate Hillary Clinton. That's why I was like, okay, go Trump. I've said from day one I was never a Trump supporter. Nobody's ever heard me say that I support Trump, right? I have said very clearly and unequivocally that I hate Hillary, and I did not want Hillary to win, and I still stand by that. How the hell do I get out of here? But now that we have Trump, I'm free to criticize him just like anybody else, and I've been critical of him on anything. I think his cabinet sucks. I think his policy sucks. I think his immigration thing sucks. This whole thing with Muslims, I don't grasp how anything is legal about that. Am I a fan of Muslims? No. But, I mean, now, I agree that he wasn't the only one that's made these executive orders. Obama did in some cases too. But why he picked certain countries, I have no idea. We have no indication that Syrian refugees have been terrorists. I mean, let's focus on the shit that we know.
I don't know. I think it's interesting because his Muslim ban wasn't really well thought out. It was just like, hey, I told you we're gonna have a Muslim ban. Let's have a Muslim ban. It wasn't like people got together and was like, how do we do this? Because especially when he went on TV and said this is the Muslim ban, it's like you can't go into court and say, well, it's not really a Muslim ban. You got all these people who you've already told it is a Muslim ban.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. It is a Muslim ban, and again, I'm not a fan of Muslim, but let's be realistic here. It is a ban. He's called it a ban before, and then he's going around saying, well, it's not a ban. Well, what is it then? I mean, legally speaking, and again, you don't have to give your legal expertise, even though you have it, but what is it a ban? Do you consider it a ban?
It is. I do consider it a Muslim ban, but not because of the document, but because of what he said. Okay. We're talking about intent. What is the intent of the people who who are passing the law, and that's what usually happens. A lot of times with religious laws too, is that the law in its face doesn't seem to be discriminatory, but when you look at the intent of the law, then that's where you get into trouble. So that's what I think.
I think it
One of
depends
the
on the
biggest
use of the word
cases.
ban, because I do it in a general sense consider it a ban. Oh, let's look at live.
Well,
I want to do this.
You know the weird part about the ban though is that he didn't ban anybody from the countries that have attacked us, like
Well, that's
Saudi
what I was saying,
Arabia.
right? That's what I was saying. Right. Yeah.
So it's a Muslim ban wherever Trump doesn't have a hotel at. You know, if you don't have a hotel there, then he's banning you.
Oh. Just look at the live feed. Still got 30 people watching. Hey, Sarah, you're supposed to join us. You never did. You kept on saying, "Oh, I'm gonna come in," but you never do.
Hey, do you see Darwin's is having hangouts now?
No, I haven't.
Darwin's deity?
No. Darwin's only around when somebody else has a hangout, so he can go in and basically fuck things up.
No, he's holding his own. He's holding his own hangouts now.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't seen. Like I said, I haven't seen. I think you asked me, have I seen any of his hangouts? No, I have not.
He doesn't keep them up, but he's been having them. They've been interesting, to say the least.
Why don't people keep up their shit? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't keep it up, but he actually has some really interesting people in there. So it's not as bad as you would think it is. Obviously, he's not going to let you speak or say anything too in depth, because that's unfortunately the presuppositionalist argument. It doesn't really allow you to elaborate on points against any nuance. But it's pretty, he's at least trying to make an attempt to have a conversation. So what that means, I don't know.
See, when you say attempt to have a conversation, Darwin's is not known for actually having conversations. Darwin's is known for asking a shit ton of questions, never answering a damn thing, right? I mean, he doesn't like to answer questions. What am I trying to kill here? Black Rock Falcons.
You know what? It's interesting because I feel like I'm one of those few people who separate the bad arguments from the people. Like TrueEmpiricism, I like him. I think he's a good person. I've had regular conversation with him, and we agree on a lot of things. Like you
haven't known him long enough.
Over policing.
I think that too.
Maybe,
but he is not a good person. I mean, he literally is not, because he doesn't care about truth anymore. He started off wanting to have conversations. Now it doesn't matter that lies, truths, it doesn't matter to him. He doesn't care. He just doesn't. I mean, look at his videos. I mean, all he does is just tries to say everybody else doesn't know what they're talking about, and yet he cannot demonstrate that he does by correcting anybody correctly. That makes sense. Where am I taking these? I mean, seriously, when I said I don't know what he's ever corrected anybody on, I wasn't kidding. And then he has the audacity to sit there and say, "Oh, well, look at these scientists. They agree with me." No, they don't. I talk to Dr. Rana frequently. Dr. Rana even actually put on his Facebook something of mine. And said, "Hey, my friend Steve, blah blah blah." I mean, he's a nice guy, and I messaged him and said, "Hey, this guy thinks that you are saying that DNA degrades in water," and he's like, "No." Hey, there you go, Jade coming in.
Oh.
So he is misrepresenting them. It was very clear that he misrepresented them, and he's still trying to convince people. Oh, look, even they agreed, word for word. What were the words they used? That was word for word that Ronnie used. Somebody explain to me the word for word thing, because Ronnie never said anything of the sort that they said, or vice versa. Oh, is that something I need to kill? Nope. Black Rock Falcons marked. Oh, marked, not killed. Okay, what am I marking? Hey, Jade.
Jade, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, you're loud today.
Eating, but I thought I'd stop in anyway.
Oh my God, are you
it
loud
really
today?
Sucks.
Oh, that's better.
So if I disappear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been having connection problems for the past couple of times because you've been dropping in and out of calls lately.
Well, it's the weather.
Yeah.
I live in a little on the other side of the mountains from the Silicon Valley, so I'm in the Monterey Bay area, and there aren't a lot of choices here for internet access. And when we have a lot of so my internet access is through the phone company, the AT&T. The only other choice I have is through our local cable company, which I despise. And I don't have cable anyway because I don't watch TV. I watch everything on the internet. So when we have these storms in this little county of ours, it really causes us a lot of problems. So it causes my internet to get really flaky. And it's just like monsoon. I have a couple of 32-gallon trash cans sitting outside, right? And I thought I use them usually for I'm going in the yard and I'm pulling stuff and then I'll mulch it later. But as I'm pulling weeds and stuff, I'll fill it with the trash cans but I left them out in the rain, sitting upright, thinking, well, what a great way to clean them, right? Just I dumped all the stuff, but they get dirty inside. So I thought, well, just let the rain fill them. They're both full.
Wow. But do you have, you don't have any runoff from the house or anything that goes over, you have gutters and stuff?
No.
Because sometimes the house runoff can load it up too.
Yeah, no. These are out in the driveway away from the house runoff.
Oh, wow.
That's the part yeah, I know. Yeah, because I thought about that and I was like, holy crap, we've had so much water.
It's raining right.
It's what's called an atmospheric river. Yeah. Oh, and it's all of California. This last group of rain, oddly enough, when I actually posted the local news on my G+, and when you look at the big picture, it shows this whole area where the rain is coming down. And there's a little kind of half circle near the ocean. Well, it's not exactly near the ocean, where it's not in this yellow, and I'm in that little area. So I'm not getting the worst of this particular storm for, I don't know, some reason. I guess because we're in the valley, it's the way it's moving around the mountains or something. But we have another bad storm coming in. Whoopee! Next week. Hillsides are falling down. There's a huge avalanche in, San Bernardino County? But it was an area. No, it didn't break. The dam was never in danger of breaking.
Well, I'm talking about the spillway. The spillway was next to eroding.
Yeah. Right. Well, there was the regular spillway, okay, and the regular spillway had a problem. Part of it started to erode, so they used the emergency spillway. Now, the regular spillway is cement. The emergency spillway is just packed dirt. But it's big enough and wide enough, it should have been able to handle something far greater than this. And when they went to recertify it, it passed all the tests, even though Sierra Club and other groups said, no, you really should cement that dam. But it would have cost, it was quite expensive. And both the federal government and the state government said, no, it passes all the tests and it's structurally sound, so we're not going to cement it. And the water ate a great big huge hole in it, causing it to go sideways, and they were afraid it was going to take down the whole hillside. And if it did that, then the dam would be okay, but the water from the lake would just bypass the dam. It would just go around it in a huge flood going downstream. That's what they were concerned about. And they were all set. I don't know if anybody saw the pictures, but they got all these rocks together and they put them in these bags. There are these really heavy plastic bags that they, if you've ever been to a nursery or a place like that where you buy rock for landscaping, they put them in these like fiber plastic bags now, these great big huge ones. And they had this huge lineup of all these bags and they were going to drop them by helicopter. Well, the rain stopped, the everything eased up, so they didn't have to do that. But I've seen pictures of the guys in the big hole. I'm not sure what they're going to do now about it, but definitely I'd be willing to bet they're going to cement that now. This is one of those things that really was completely unexpected. It's one of the you can hindsight is really great. A lot of people are saying, well, you should have cemented that way back then. But I actually looked into that, and I went back and looked at the news reports. Then I looked at the what the state said and what the federal government determined, and fine. It was the emergency spillway. The dam was built in 1968, the year I graduated from high school. So that's been quite a long time, and it had never needed to be used. And we've had several nasty El Niños since then, with huge rains. So it all
could have been a cascade effect, though. If you're talking about you had a lot of El Niños, each one could have caused a little damage, and now you just got the failure.
You're right, and one of the things that I pointed out to to some people is we don't always know minute by minute what's going on under the ground. You know, a weak spot could have developed that wasn't detectable. We don't have, you know, ground penetrating radar that examines the spillway 24 hours a day. Now, in the future, someday they may be able to have that, but we don't. You know, we see the surface and they test it periodically, but things can happen in between time. I brought up the situation of that, you know, there have been times when people have had to exhume graveyards for one reason or another, and they sometimes will exhume a graveyard. These are old graveyards, not modern ones, because in modern ones people are buried in vaults, and this is part of the reason why. And they exhume a graveyard and they dig up a grave and there was nobody in it. You know, and then they dig up another grave and there were 2 people in it. And what would happen is that the things move under the ground, and basically one person moved from one grave to the other. But you know, and yeah, there's still plenty of dirt there. There's not like a hole there or a tunnel. It's just one of the reasons I remember this is that when they dug this up years ago, there was this guy who'd been a lifelong bachelor, never married, and it turned out that he had a woman in the grave with him. So people were joking that, well, I guess he had better luck after death. So, kind of a bad joke, but. And here in the.
No, it's actually not bad. It's cute.
So
yeah,
Jay,
well, it is kind of good, but yeah.
Did you get a chance to watch this video? By the way, we're on a boss right now, and I'm doing second highest damage. That's not too bad for boss damage. At 25 people. What did you happen to watch the video that he just made a little while ago? Did you get a chance to see his live thing?
Ronnie?
Yeah.
I saw the big one. I saw the hangout. I only saw the beginning of the second video, the one he just made after that. He took his hangout down, but it's been saved.
Yeah, I was gonna. That's what I wanted to ask you. I want to know if it's going to save, because you know he did
I'll
say
tell you
I'll give
who saved
$1,000
it
to anybody that can
Right.
And I don't even
I'll
have
tell
to,
you who saved
be part
it.
of that. I'll moderate something like
I'll
that.
give you.
But
I'll give you a link to it. It's what do you call it? Unlisted. So I don't want to, like give it out to everybody
right.
without the permission of the person who did it. But okay, where am I here? Okay, I was with link. So here's the link to it on the inside. And as I said, I don't, because I don't know if the person, I have a suspicion a certain other person is going to copy it and then put it up publicly. But that's it. So that's the hour and some long one he took down.
the one that needed today. Steve and
Yeah.
some help or something like that, which again.
And then he just afterwards he put up one that's 10 minutes long, and I'll give you the link to that one too. And that one's called Steve at it again, and it's 10 minutes and 14 seconds. And I've got too many tabs open, so I'm like, where am I on tabs? This is the other one. Although they do sort of look like they run together on the side. I should have put a space between them or something. I just watched the very beginning of that, and it's kind of
surreal.
I think it's the same old, same old.
But it's. Do you hear in his voice that maybe he doesn't even believe his own bullshit anymore?
Well, as Fiona has pointed out, he has a tell.
When
he coughs.
His cough is one of them.
Yeah. He's coughing all the way through the first one, first hangout. And I don't think he has a cold.
Well, every time he starts jargon bombing, he starts copying, and then he says, "Well, I can get into that. I can get into that," but he never does. I mean, it's so funny because he keeps on talking about science and says, "I can get into technical details about that," but he has never gotten into technical details with anybody. I'm just getting a lot of people in here.
His jargon bombs are the funniest, though.
They're hilarious. They're fucking hilarious. I mean,
I was in a chat with him. Oh my god! I was in a chat with him. I think maybe like last week, and somebody asked him a question, and he jargon bombed so badly that after the question, we all couldn't even remember what the initial question was. We were like, "What were you even answering?" It was even the guy who asked the question. He was like, "I don't even know what my own question was."
There were in the live chat. Yeah, in the live chat of his hangout, there were 3 or 4 people, I think 4, including myself, who were asking him to very simply and clearly explain what he meant by degrade and dissolve. He's back at that again. And people kept asking, and we know he was reading the live chat because he would read out stuff from it. He completely ignored all the people asking him in different ways and nicely, not meanly. You know, just please clarify. What do you mean? I asked him, I said, okay, what is it? I asked him to please explain what physically and chemically occurs when you put DNA into water under room temperature and 1 atmosphere pressure, which is, normal conditions. I got no answer. CRISPR asked, and CRISPR put it better than I did. I forget what CRISPR said. Apologies, CRISPR, but he put it in a better form than I did. And there are a couple other people who also, it was at least 4 people who also said, again, said basically, you know what, you could clear this up if you just simply responded. He completely ignored that, and that was a running theme. I mean, there weren't like a ton of stuff in the live chat, and nobody was calling him names or mistreating him or anything, to my knowledge, to my recollection. Let's put it that way. It's possibly something went past me, but I didn't see it. And we know he was reading the live chat, but he completely ignored the pleas for someone to just clearly explain. I'm tempted to do a video to him and just ask him very simply to explain, what I wanted. What is happening chemically and physically when you drop DNA in water at room temperature and 1 atmosphere pressure? Now, just plain old water, not water contaminated with anything, just a liquid that has nothing but hydrogens and oxygens in it. So I don't know. If he would just simply answer that carefully, and he could simply say, okay, this is what I mean. Now, if there are things I've said before that perhaps I misspoke or you've misinterpreted, that's
it was
water under the bridge.
You can't misinterpret certain things. I mean, he said numerous times that the nucleotide sequencing sequences break apart. I mean, that he loses the nucleotide sequence. That doesn't happen.
I'm just saying from his point of view.
You know what? Let me try to respond like he would. He would say something like, "Water is 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, but you have to use it at a room temperature. And when you use it at room temperature, then it will lead to a symbiosis of the catalytic catalyst. And what that happens is that when you have those 2 things, then you have a DNA synthase that then leads us to." It doesn't make sense.
And it's still
evolution doesn't work. Do you understand?
No. You know what I just thought of? Do you remember, was it Damon Wayans who did that character on In Living Color who said the craziest stuff? You know what I'm talking about?
Would translate?
No, it was...
Wasn't there a skit about where he was playing Hannibal Lecter? And he was saying... Yeah, there was a thing where he was playing Hannibal Lecter, and this one actress was playing Jodie Foster character, whatever. And he starts spouting these words like that, what you're talking about, and then she kind of starts getting it too.
I think it was Damon Wayans because it was on In Living Color, which I realized was a while ago.
In Living Color. Oh, we all remember Fly Girls,
but he I mean, this whole sort of thing goes back. I'm sure most people here are probably too young. Crosby. Norm Crosby was a comedian who that was his shtick, using big words incorrectly, and it was hysterical. So anyone's interested, look it up. I'll probably Yeah, it was Damon Wayans, definitely.
I remember the characters you're talking
about. But the sad part about Ronnie, though, is he really understands what he's saying. It's just I just don't think he can convey it to us.
No, he doesn't. No, trust me.
He knows what he's saying. He just is like, I can't explain it to you guys.
No, he does not.
All right, the ultimate test here is for Ronnie to explain to us how birds fly by farting.
We must sever the tendrils of power that bind it.
He just said he.
Oh, that was Arcane's thing,
Well,
wasn't it?
yeah, but Ronnie agreed.
Correct.
But
Was that Arcane or is that Ronnie?
That's Arcane.
Choose a course.
That's Arcane.
And
Okay.
know that I will stand
Hang on, I don't
with
want to
you.
get lost here. This is why I always get lost in this little.
What
thing
horror
here.
is
Okay.
this?
Yeah.
A tumor of nightmare.
Sorry, Steve. They all start to sound the same after a while.
Well, yeah, batshit crazy blends into batshit crazy, right? I mean,
yeah.
If this seed takes hold,
Yeah, that's one of the things that's so frustrating about Ronnie. And I know I brought it up before. Like several of y'all have tried to sit down with him calmly, you know, and without being in each other's throats. Say, what are you trying to say? Let's parse this out. Or as Dragnaut would say, let's suss this out. Because Dragnaut spent an hour or two or more talking to Ronnie. So, okay, now here's what you're saying, but what does it mean? You know, can you word this to where we can really understand what you're saying? And he was very patient and walked Ronnie through this stuff. What are you saying? And what do you mean by this and stuff?
well, the problem is Ronnie, he can't answer succinctly, right? Ronnie has to take the most simplest answers and tries to make them more convoluted than they need to be. If he could just answer simple yes or no questions, you know, does DNA, when it goes into water, does it break apart into a nucleotide sequence? He's already answered that question. He's answered yes multiple times. But that would lead into other things. Well, if that happens, how do you do a PCR reaction then? Am I locked out? They did not start this encounter without us, did they? Oh, these fucking idiots. Seriously? They started the encounter and it locks us. We can't get in now.
No, he's playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but they already attacked the boss and they didn't pay attention that half the raid wasn't in there. We're just standing out here twiddling our thumbs. So what happens is if they can't beat him in phase 1, if they don't have enough DPS to kill him in phase 1, it wipes the entire raid. And I'm one of the biggest DPSers, and I'm stuck out here because I can't get in because they didn't wait.
Did somebody yell Leroy Jenkins?
You know, well, this is a pickup group. This is not our guild. This is just a pug group that we have a couple guild members from. But it's going to wipe the entire raid if they can't finish this. And it does it in one shot if they can't finish it in phase 1. Hey, don't come out here and try to kill me, bitch. I'm not even in there. Oh my god! They're coming out and trying to kill me. There we go. Okay, they did reset it. Oh, thank goodness. They reset. Okay, anyways, moving on. Sorry about that, guys. I'm multitasking.
Hollywood Boulevard. You know about that. Was that a big thrill for you? Oh, it was the most exciting thing. I'll tell you.
I don't want any audio in here, just in case it's copyrighted.
Yeah, just a moment. I've seen all the plaques.
Somebody playing a video? Please don't play the video.
Not guilty. Yes. We, all of us who achieve a measure of success in our organizations and groups around the country because it's a cheap way to get a free show.
Sorry, Jade, I gotta mute you. I don't want any copyrighted stuff on my channel. Kick out of range, they will reset. Just reset them, people. But anyways, like I was saying about Ronnie, we're gonna have to reset this in the raid here. I don't know what's going on here. He just won't answer the simple questions. But again, I don't even care anymore. I don't care what his positions or anything are because he's had so many different positions and he says everybody's straw manning him. Well, he'll say what his position is and change it 30 seconds later anyways. So why does it matter what it doesn't matter to me. I'm more concerned about the fact that he's just constantly telling other people, we're supposed to drake these guys and bring them over to the eye and kill them over here, but we're never going to do it, so just have it reset. You're not supposed to kill them over here, guys. You're supposed to kill them in front of the eye. I'm just going to let it reset. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. Can you guys still hear me?
Never can.
Quiet. Let me look at the live feed while I'm doing this. Let the record show that Steve did not invite Raid to me. It's a pickup group. All you got to do is just go to normal hold, and you can join. We should have room. Yeah. There's 22 people, Jules, who want in. It's a normal one. But I'm not going to sit here and play. We can't kill these guys. We're not going to have enough DPS at the very end anyways, so I don't know why they're bothering. MP still there? Yeah,
Hello.
You guys are awfully
We're
quiet.
still,
So Heavy, did you watch?
I'm still here.
Oh.
I'm chewing.
Did you watch his latest fucking hilarious video that I was dying on? I was laughing so hard. I'm like, Ronnie, you really think your people are that well? Okay, his people are stupid. That's stupid. But most people are not that stupid to think that they're gonna go, oh look, Ronnie has videos that everybody hates, and that obviously he doesn't know what he's talking about, and yet he's telling everybody else they know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. Now,
I haven't seen the latest. I've been remember that Mass Effect 2 free download you mentioned a while back.
Yeah,
I got that. And thoroughly.
Yeah.
So I've been in deep.
I just played the first part of it. By the way, we're gonna die. It's that Dark Reconstruction. If you don't kill him fast enough in phase 1, it blows up and kills the entire raid. So if we're not even close, which we're not, we're all gonna die. Run out, run out, run out. Oh, yeah, it was close. Shit. My bad. Maybe we could have finished him. We're only on normal. Okay. They're gonna kill him. Anyway.
Yeah, so I hadn't really been up to snuff on what's been happening recently because of Mass Effect 2. It's all your fault.
It's a pretty decent game. I finished. Well, I got most of Mass Effect 1 done, but yeah, no, it's a pretty good game. But my ex-roommate got me back into this because he wants to do some PvP, and so I've been getting this tune geared up so I can do player versus player with them in arena.
Yeah.
I've already got a core group going.
There's a guy that his name is Darkside Phil, and he does a lot of playthroughs. It's not walkthroughs; it's just playthroughs where he just plays the game and he's learning stuff as he goes. And he did the Mass Effect trilogy. I thoroughly enjoyed that, except for the end of number 3. That was fucked up.
It's one of the best games series ever made.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I did get that, and now I'm thinking, well, maybe I ought to break down and try to get the first one and the third one.
The first one you can pretty much find if you look hard enough for free. I played it for free.
Yeah,
Don't you play WoW though? I thought you played WoW.
Every so often I've gotten away from it a little good bit.
Well, like I said, I just
I've got
want it for PvP. And I might make videos and give it instructions of how to do different strategies for different PGs because I played seriously thousands, and this is not hyperbolic, thousands and tens of thousands of PGs. I mean, I've got 5,000 almost of just one type of PG. There's like how many of them? 12. And I played 4,000 of just one. So
I've got a level. I think he's about 102 shaman.
I've got to break 2K this season. That's my goal, is to break 2,000. I got 1997 last season I played. I was so pissed. Because if you're a 2K rated player, you're considered to be top notch. And I missed it by 2 points.
Oops.
Yeah. This is my least favorite boss on here. I hate this guy.
Slow as I am and as old as my computer is. I just sort of...
I always die on this one.
Do it by myself.
God, they're just going balls to the wall. They're not even waiting for people. Shit. Yeah, Ronnie said he's going to make another video, and I'm like, I just kind of drag at this point. Do I really want to make more responses? But I do enjoy making response videos. I really do. Making him look like an idiot is not really difficult. I get that, but it is fun.
Well, that's like when people ask, well, why bother with these idiots? But then we look at it and go like, well, somebody's got to say something. You can't just let them keep running rampant.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. And again, these are just trivial issues, but I mean, there are false accusations. Even in the video that he said today, he's like, "Oh, Steve has all these accounts." Come on, Ronnie, demonstrate that I have these accounts. You asked the exact same thing to Suzuki Das. Said, "Hey, Suzuki," and even G-Man did too. G-Man said, "Hey, Suzuki Das, can you give us evidence, any kind of evidence that Ronnie has multiple accounts?" And he couldn't do it, so he retracted his claim. I do think he and Resurrector are right. I think that he does have multiple accounts, but I can't demonstrate it either, but I believe it, right? It's a belief. But he's accusing me of having multiple accounts, so doesn't he have to abide by the same thing he suggests other people do? So, come on, Ronnie, demonstrate that I've got multiple accounts.
Whoa. Steve, are you asking someone to actually provide proof and evidence for a claim that they make on the internet?
I know, it's crazy talk. Well, it's worse, is not only that, is that he's asked other people for evidence for the same fucking claim.
I know, but that's not how the internet works.
I'm so confused in this internet shit. Oh. God damn it! I hate this fucking boss. I hate this boss. But isn't that the most ironic part? Is that he has actually asked somebody, "Hey, retract your claim because you can't demonstrate I have multiple accounts," and yet he did the exact same thing to me and doesn't think there's a problem there. That's what I'm saying. I think he's gone full retard, delusional, nut job. I mean, he's not much different than the flat earther at this point. Because, I mean, how intelligent do you have to be to see that he had asked somebody for evidence that he had multiple accounts, and they couldn't provide it, so they retracted their claim. So I asked him for evidence that I had multiple accounts. Do you think he's going to retract his claim? Yeah. And I'm telling you guys, I don't. So, I mean, his votes were legit votes from normal people. I don't think even most people use stocks. And even still, they were so overwhelming that he would have won hands down either way. He doesn't want to have to admit that he earned the dumb fuck of the year. I still think he's still butthurt for it. What did Fiona say? Ronnie's always smells like burnt underwear. Like he's wearing burnt underwear around his head. That was funny.
I don't get it.
Boy, this boss is easy today. Usually I could die on this boss.
Why would Ronnie smell like he's got burnt underwear on his head?
Because he's always getting his ass burned.
Oh. But he's an ass hat, so... Is that why it's on his head?
Yeah, he's an ass hat. Boy, that's some shitty gear. Look at that. I got 870 and this one's 835. Yippee skippy. What am I going to do with that? Oh, yeah, disenchanted for... If you're in here and you're not watching what I'm doing here, you guys have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, do you? Hey, my guildie is leader of the group now. And let me see. Let me check the live feed. Do you guys want me to keep this open? Are you enjoying this? You got almost 30 people watching.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll keep it open. But come on in. Hey, Ruhif, join us while I'm between bosses here. Jules, come in. Tyler, come in. If you guys want to carry this conversation on, that's fine. But I need people to join us. So if more people don't join in the next... By the time I'm done with this raid, I have to end this call.
Yeah.
I can't keep it open. Where the frick did everybody go? I don't know how to get out of here. I think it's up here.
I moved over to start using Facebook a little bit more and kind of getting into the conversations over there. And it's like, am I talking to the same people I've been talking to on G+? I mean, it's the same arguments, the same stupid things that have been disproved over and over and over, the same baiting, same everything. I mean, is there a course that these people take or somewhere they go to learn this stuff? Because it sounds like you're talking to the same people all the time. Because they're bringing up the same thing and it keeps getting debunked. So, no, here's the evidence, here's this, and this.
Well, that's the funniest thing, right? I mean,
and they just keep on.
They are so against reality that the world they live in is contrary to what we all live in. And I mean that very sincerely. Their reality is different from ours. They think that the bigger fuck up you are, the bigger ineptitude you have for a specific topic, the smarter you are. And I don't know where Ronnie gets this idea that the mistakes he makes, and him saying that they're not mistakes, that he's saying he's actually right when we know he's wrong. It's a topsy-turvy world. It's bizarre shit.
Yeah.
Pity the
What am I queued for?
They left Gilneas before falling victim to the Worgen.
Anybody know how to do this quest I'm on,
But now
by the
they
way?
face the
Black Rock hooks falcons. I don't... Is this a world quest? Yeah, Black Rock Falcons marked. How do I mark the Black Rock Falcons? I don't even know how to do this one. Jules, do you know how to do this one if you're watching? It says mark them. I don't know how to mark them. Oh, we got somebody coming in now. Right, one sec. I want to finish this world quest.
One thing that gets me is, like, there's always out after, against evolution, and evolution makes you immoral and commit horrible crimes. And if evolution's true, there's no basis for absolute morality, or these different things they keep bringing up. And like, evolution is says that there is no God or no need for God. Where do they get all of this?
Well, it's just they can't refute the science, so they've got to come up with something else to try to refute it by obfuscating the actual topic, right? And they try to make evolution to be out something and it's not.
Excuse me.
Shit, what is the... I'm trying to look this world quest up. And yet they're so cocksure that they've actually, refuted the greatest scientific theory of all time. And that was even weird when Ronnie in his video saying that I contradicted myself or something. Saying that, when I said evolution's a fact and a theory, it is a fact and a theory. There's two parts to it. Oh, shit.
Yeah, well, it comes down to they just don't know the language you're using.
No, I don't know. I kind of argue against that. After all this time of people correcting them and everything, they know.
No.
They know the language.
No, Heavy. They don't.
But they will not give in because it will make it look like their faith is weak or something.
Heavy, you sounded like them just now. You sound like you were just like how they say but you suppress the truth and unrighteousness.
My guildie's listening to my guildie and Wow's listening to my feed, and he says there's a gun or something I use to shoot these birds down.
Well, there's more evidence for evolution than there is for something outside of space and time.
I didn't see anything in the bag. There's an item in the bag, a gun. I don't have a gun to shoot anything down, dude. Here, there's an item in a bag, a gun used to shoot them down. God damn it! I got artifact power and I got research notes. I gotta go. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm babbling to myself. I'm talking to our guildie who's watching. I don't have a gun, dude.
Yeah, like we're suppressing the truth, and they throw that things from Romans at us. Like, no, we can see, we see these invisible things and stuff. Whatever that verse is, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and it's funny because I usually try to explain to them that I really don't believe that we can even choose what we believe. And it's hard to. It's just like you're saying you're going to damn somebody for an act that they can't really that they're compelled to do. If you had enough evidence in anything that was convincing enough for you, you would believe so. It just it's not something you can choose to do.
It's like, who's the creepy old guy that's half naked on your feed? That's Heavy Holler.
AKA Naked Santa.
Where'd that come from?
The people watching my live feed and play the game with me.
Oh.
Yeah. But you're such a sexy man, so we don't mind. Okay, so my friend says I gotta find... Oh, hey, Jules, if you're watching the feed, you gotta turn off the feed. The live feed. He says I got a gun in my bag to shoot these birds and mark them. I don't have anything in my bag to mark them.
I echoed.
Yeah, because Jules is watching the live feed.
Yeah, I'm just so big and burly and butch. I just can't stand myself. I tell you.
Jill, just hear me? Yes, there we go. I hate when I get artifact power and I haven't got back to my research notes yet because I'm losing artifact power by doing that. But whatever.
Okay, Steve.
How do I finish this fucking world quest?
Oh my god.
I'm an idiot.
Am I
I've never done
lagging?
this before. No. I don't think so. I don't know. I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Alright, I'm like 3 seconds from... Okay, so I was trying to tell you, this is why I don't do Google Hangouts. Your, Josh, what do you call that shit at the bottom of the screen? Your interface is blocking the gun icon that you're supposed to have there that you hit when you target a bird.
You mean under my World Quest?
No. See the bottom middle of your screen?
Here. I get it. Oh, here. Oh, I can fix that. That's my bartender. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? All I can do is click this. There we go. Ah. There we go. Thank you, Jules. You saved me.
Yeah, it took me like 15 minutes to get in the Google Hangout. I had to hit approve like on 38 things, and now I'm done.
You're talking about this little here, the marking tool.
I don't know. I don't know how this thing works.
Don't worry, Google doesn't know
either. You figured
either.
it out. It's not terribly difficult. See, now I can see the marking tool.
It would have been better, but then I guess I was echoing and you muted me, and that took a whole other button click.
I didn't mute you.
Somebody did.
Yeah, somebody probably did. Yeah. Well, welcome to Google Hangouts. This is what I usually do as we have to discuss things like science. Right. What we're talking about before, if you're paying attention, we have a guy in our community who's one of the biggest dumbasses of all time. I mean, literally, not exaggerating, not trying to be hyperbolic. The guy's just stupid. And he thinks that he knows more about science than everybody, including people that have PhDs. And we have a lot of people that have degrees in our community, a lot of PhDs. And many of them are biological or related to scientific fields. And this guy has no education of any kind. And he just gets so much shit wrong, and then he sits there and tells everybody else, oh, well, these guys are just wrong and they won't admit it. Well, no, this is not something where we're wrong on. He keeps on saying that things like DNA degrades in water.
Easy as pie.
And that doesn't make any sense to anybody. So that's what we're discussing.
Yeah.
Well, his microphone was degrading in his hangout earlier, and I only stayed for a few minutes. But what I thought the best part of the whole thing for me, his original video that he came out with, whenever that was, like January? I don't know. He was bitching about whatever, and he kept talking about, oh, you know, those doctors, they agreed with me. Oh, everyone agreed with me. Steve's wrong. Everyone agreed with me. And then a couple weeks later, you come out now with this return video to him, and he says, oh, Steve's talking about stuff that happens. Like, oh, when did I do this? Like a month ago? He's bringing up old stuff.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I don't know why I kept you know what? I thought I was getting you confused with Laundria, so I'm sorry. I didn't really remember that you were part of the community. I was thinking of Laundria, who's actually in my guild. He's never been in a Google Hangout before. So sorry about that, Jules. I totally, my brain spaced on that one. I don't know why I was telling you about Google our community, when obviously you're part of our community. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I just can't imagine anybody jumping into this community at this point.
Yeah, well, Alondra,
it must be really confusing.
He's listening, and he's just like, probably lost in what's going on here. So my brain got confused there for a second. I'm doing multiple different things. Yeah, I know you're a guy, Alondra. Yes, Josh. I know who you are. I've known Josh for like, I don't know, how many years? Like 8 years, 9 years, 10 years?
And I guess I should probably butt in real quick with my last word here. Steve, you're my claim to fame, because you're internet famous and I hang out with you now. But I got to tell you that Heavy Hauler, I have been a huge fan. I love watching Hangouts with you. You bring the party to the group.
He's awesome,
and now I'm in here with like 2 internet famous people. It's amazing.
What?
Well, I talk about
Heavy Hauler around somewhere.
I guess I could put this out there now. I guess it's my choice to do so. They just said I couldn't, but we are trying to get some more famous people in here. I'm actually somebody's actually watching one of my videos, and see if they want to join us. Are you familiar with Stephen Amell from Arrow?
Not me.
The guy who plays the Green Arrow.
I need a target.
No, he might join us for a hangout. So
Jules, I thank you, but I don't think I deserve that high praise.
Arrow's a great show.
I I've been at this for, I don't know, a couple years now, I guess. And Jade's here, and Fiona, I've told Steve a million times, Fiona's kind of like, I talk to her, I say hi and chat, and she, whatever, she thinks I'm crazy. But she's my secret superhero. I love her. I think she's amazing.
You don't come into Hangouts very often, though. You love this. You love the live feed. Don't you stay more in the live feed than anyone else?
I can come talk about Warcraft, and that's it. That's all I got.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoy the content, though. I'm glad that people listen. I'm glad that it is this year especially gotten away from the Clown Car Posse and actually gotten decent guests, intelligent guests, and it's been really good. I mean, for God's sake, I had Mary Schweitzer in here. I mean, that's just amazing. So
that was one of the most amazing ones that I have seen in years.
Jen Peoples, I think she liked it. She, you know Jen Peoples from the Atheist Experience, have you?
Huh?
Do you know who Jennifer Peoples is from the Atheist Experience?
Yes.
She watched it, and she has agreed to come on and join us, but she isn't feeling too well, and she kind of hurt her arm. So I told her we would try to get her in next month. She said that'd be just fine. So,
that'd be awesome too. Yeah.
So if anybody knows who she is from the Atheist Experience.
Yeah. Well, most of the people on the Atheist Experience, they're all pretty awesome people. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to be an atheist to really kind of like their conversational things, right? It's an entertaining show.
Now I'll feed your bones.
But it is funny that, oh God, get these things off me. I don't want these beams off me. Oh shit, I gotta go this way. Ronnie and G-Man and the rest of the Clown Car Posse really just have a hard-on for Matt Dillahunty and the other host of the Atheist Experience, and I don't know why. I don't know what this fascination that they have with atheism is. It's like, look, it's a position, just like any other. It's a position. It's nothing that I subscribe to, even though Ronnie keeps thinking that I'm an atheist. He keeps on thinking that Fiona's an atheist. We're not, but that doesn't mean we're theist either. I'm not a theist. So, according to Matt Dillahunty, that's not possible, right? He thinks that either you're an atheist or a theist, and according to other people like Ozzy, yes, of course you can be other things, and I think you can be other things. I'm not either. Would you guys agree on that? That you can be other things?
Sure.
But see,
because there are other things.
But he thinks it's a binary dichotomy, right? He thinks either you're an
not
atheist.
This crap again.
Right.
So, sorry, Steve. It's not you.
Well, hold on.
I know.
But Steve, but I think he's saying it in a way where it's like, if someone says does the the Loch Ness Monster exists, could you choose between I believe and I don't believe? Like, could you say, I don't know if I believe, I don't know if I believe?
There's a difference. You just had two different dichotomies there. There is a dichotomy. Either the Loch Ness Monster exists.
Steve, you're echoing.
No, I'm not echoing. Jules is echoing. Either you believe. Okay, hang on. Who's echoing here? Oh,
That might be me. Hold on.
I just looked. Either God exists or he doesn't exist. Either the Loch Ness Monster exists or he doesn't exist. That's a true dichotomy. Nobody's saying otherwise. A belief, however, is different.
No, Steve, hold on. With the Loch Ness Monster, there may be evidence of something, but it is not a monster like you.
It doesn't matter. Either it does exist or it does not exist. That is a true dichotomy. Whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to say, that's a true dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
But we're not. I'm not saying. What
stairs are a dichotomy. They go up and down. They don't go side to side.
Okay, well you well no. Okay, I don't say that. Now you kind of sound like JJ, just being a contrarian. No, but a belief can vary, right? A belief,
Thanks.
You're way smarter than JJ.
Me too.
But a belief doesn't have to be a dichotomy, right? It's not that you believe or you don't believe. There's other things.
Well, let me explain my position. What I'm saying is that you're right. I think the difference between a knowledge claim and a belief claim. If you're saying the Loch Ness Monster exists or doesn't exist, I believe that's more of a knowledge claim. That only one can be true. But I think when you're talking about, do I believe the Loch Ness Monster exists or do I believe that it doesn't exist? I don't understand if the person were to respond to me. I don't know if I believe the Loch Ness Monster exists or not. It's a belief claim. You have to kind of there's no in between. If you don't have enough evidence, you just don't believe. That's why we don't say. I don't think you go to the whole.
Here's the problem.
I don't know if I believe.
Here's the problem with that. And as a lawyer, let me ask you this: if somebody takes the Fifth Amendment, right? Are they entered as having a negative response? If I ask them somebody a question, did you do this, or did this happen, and you say I plead the Fifth Amendment, is it entered as no?
No, it's not entered as no.
So there is something other than a yes or no answer. When it says, do you believe that this happened? And you're on the court and you say, I take the Fifth. It's not yes or no.
Ooh, bad.
Yeah, bad echo. So when you're talking about belief claims, to answer the propositional question of God's existence, does God exist? That's the question that's being posed, right? That's the proposition. How you answer that is not dichotomous. How you answer that is not yes or no. It doesn't have to be. I can answer other things. I don't know is a third option. Or not answering is another option, right? Now, you're right. The knowledge, the absolutism, whether something exists or not, like God's existence, is binary. Either he does or he does not. But your position on it is not binary.
You kind of lost me on the
binary. Hey, Bionic Dance, if you're listening, pay attention to Steve right now, please.
She's an idiot. She does not get that concept at all. There's so many people. That's one thing that I do agree with Antonio. What's his name? It's not Super Rex. The other Antonio Fletcher. That he thinks Bionic Dance is wrong across the board on atheism, and I agree with him on that. She is wrong.
Well, Steve, that's because she latched onto these ideas way back when they were, and she won't. Well, she latched onto them way, way long ago before they got really thought about by people who are smart, because they were brought up by people who weren't smart, who thought they were smart.
That's not true. No. I mean, these people are smart that brought them up, but they didn't think it all the way through. They're not.
Right.
They're not philosophers. They're not. Matt Dillahunty
anyway,
is a smart
point
guy.
Is, and you're right. She won't let them go. People have sat her down and explained it, where where like at the point where it breaks down and falls apart, and she still will not let it go.
It's kind of reminiscent of Matt Slick, isn't it? Matt Slick and his tag argument, which again, Ronnie doesn't understand why Matt Slick's argument is invalid. Why it is just a basic, simple tautology. Everybody's gotten it. I mean, Alex Malpass, and between him and Scott Clifton, they did a wonderful job explaining why Matt's argument is just trivial. And the only people that don't get it is Matt Slick, Andrew Rappaport, the rest of the Bible-thumping wingnut crew, including True. They don't understand it. And it's not that hard. I don't know why they're having a problem with it. I mean, isn't Matt Slick supposed to be some really genius logician of some kind? By the way, if I don't know you, you can't come in. I'm not taking any chances. By the way,
who is it?
I don't know this person. So, I mean, I
what, the lady with the turkey cat face?
No, I don't mind if people I don't know, but I'm playing a game right now. I really can't moderate, so I mean, they can't nuke the hangout, or snipe it, but I really don't want to have to worry about that.
Hey, Headless, you better watch that.
I mean, is anybody in the live feed, and by the way, somebody's watching the live feed, right? Does anybody not get why Matt Slick is so unwilling to, or seriously, anybody don't get why he's wrong and can explain why he won't give up on this tag argument that he keeps promoting?
But what's the argument?
The whole... either God accounts for the laws of logic or principles of logic, or he doesn't, and therefore his argument is basically either P or not P, not P, therefore P. So basically, either God accounts for the laws of logic, or he doesn't account for the laws of logic. But the problem is that there's other options as well. I mean, there's actually that he says if God accounts for logic. Or atheists don't have a God, so atheists can't account for the laws of logic. Well, why not? Maybe there's God and other gods. Maybe there's multiple gods that account for the laws of logic. But his whole P or not P thing is just invalid because it boils down to a tautology. Not P is equal to P, right? So if you have P or not P, not P, therefore P, you end up with literally P, therefore P. Well, that's just saying A or therefore A, or X therefore X, or God therefore God. Who cares?
the laws of logic, is that the thing that has the excluded middle or something? Or
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to call them the laws of logic, and I get that. They're actually called the principles of logic.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not technically laws.
So if wait a minute,
there's three main principles of logic.
That's a man-made concept.
They're all man-made concepts.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yes.
They're just descriptions of reality.
Yes. Yeah.
For example, you start with the thing as a thing. The law also. Yeah, it's also known in mathematics as the law of identity. A equals A.
So if whether there is or isn't a God. Oh, okay. I just got lost. Sorry.
Okay, the principles of logic are, like she said, things are observationally sound. They're descriptive. They say,
right.
"Oh, I lost my freaking passport. Oh my god!" And I can't get out of combat to see my spellbook. That's my big nuker. Oh well, good thing it's not a professional group right now. So when we say that the law of identity, that A equals A, right? That's kind of something we observe. Anybody know the shortcut for a spellbook?
Nope.
Yeah, Jules, you know the shortcut for spellbook opening? Because I hide it when I'm in combat, so I get some more strength. Oh, god damn it. I lost my big...
Yeah, it's P.
You're a genius.
Not P.
If you marry me. If you're not already married, marry me. If you are married, ask him if he doesn't mind. You're right. I played this game 10 years. I think I should know that it's P. I actually.
No, Steve. It's not P.
Not. Is it P or not P? It's not P. Therefore P, right? How ironic is that? It was P.
Yeah, let me try asking that again. If a God does not exist, therefore laws of logic do not exist.
Matt Slick's position is that God does not exist. You can't account for the laws of logic.
Wait a minute.
But you don't have. Okay, yeah, you don't have to account for the laws of logic. That's the bottom line. You don't have to account for them. They are just observations that we have codified. We see the world. We see that you have a thing. You have a thing. This.
I mean, if they could be changed, I don't even have a problem with that if we can find a violation of them. I think it'd be kind of interesting. But they're not something that holds to the case where if these things don't hold true, all reality changes. Because in a couple cases, they do not... what the hell's going on here? I'm just asleep. We're not killing the ads, people.
And claim your vengeance.
For example, in certain types of other logical systems, the law of identity holds true, but law of excluded middle doesn't. Or the law of non-contradiction, especially. That gets violated all the time in different things. So they're only descriptive and hold true, generally speaking, in our everyday understanding. But like I said, there's certain types of logical systems where they don't have to hold true. Even in quantum mechanics, we see that the law of contradiction doesn't always hold true, right? Because you have superpositioning. A light switch can be on and off at the same time.
Right. Which is why, theoretically, you could have a dimension or perhaps a state of matter where the law of identity doesn't work because you don't have a thing.
But how that would happen is hard to conceptualize.
Yes, but you can have something that is amorphous or something that's always changing or something that has a dual or triple or quadruple state that it's not one thing. Although I guess you could redefine that state as being one thing. But yeah, there are things we can't conceptualize. Just like it's a little bit difficult for us to conceptualize
May you find peace
living in a fourth dimension. It can conceptualize living in a two-dimensional world a little bit. I mean, look at Flat World. But there are things that it's hard for us to conceptualize it. Multidimensional worlds. We can do so with mathematics, but try to think of it. When I was a kid and first learning geometry, they explained to us that a line is infinite. Or you're a kid and you're looking at a geometry book, you see a line and it's drawn as a line. You see it has two endpoints. But that's actually a line segment. That's not a line. A line goes on
forever
to infinity. Yeah. Just like a plane goes on to infinity. But normally when we speak of a plane or a line, we're talking about a finite thing. We're talking about what we're really talking about is like I said, a line segment or a section of a plane. But this concept of infinity is kind of difficult to conceptualize. But if you do it enough, I used to tutor math. I pointed out to people, if you do it enough, if you think about it enough, it will make sense. Just like
an infinite number of times.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, do you
Just
remember
like
in my video, Jade, that I said that most people understand things like context and basic concepts? Like when you say the word line, right? When we say it's a line, in general parlance, we all know a line goes on forever. We all say we call it a line, but we all know it's a line segment, right?
Right.
Everybody knows
Exactly.
this, but we call it a line. So we don't have to be so hyper technical that say, oh, that's not a line. In general, we say it's a line, but we know the reality is really not.
Right. If I'm speaking in mathematical terms, and this again goes to some of the problems we have with creationists and science in general. The difference between common language and specific language. If I'm, talking in mathematical terms, I want to be careful and say this is a line segment. But in everyday terms, I'll go, oh yeah, see that line over there. That's fine. In general terms, I could talk about the evolution of fashion, for example, or look at that video, the evolution of dance. But in scientific terms, generally speaking, when we're talking about evolution, we're talking about the biological theory of evolution. About a fact or a theory, those have specific meanings in science. But I could say, one of the ones that always comes to my mind is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer music video. I've got a theory. Those of you who know that, the music will probably start running in your head. But we often say, I've got a theory about that, even though it's really a hypothesis. You don't hear people running around saying, I have a hypothesis about that. They'll say, I have a theory about that. That's common language. It doesn't mean the same thing as it does in science. Just like, we had the discussion, which was great, about what it means to be critical. Remember that, Steve?
Yes.
The impurity must be cleansed.
If you say you're being critical of a book, or someone is in critical condition in the hospital, and the good one was if nuclear material is critical, and even that depends on what context you're talking about it, because you pointed out nuclear. Mine isn't working. Engine. Wrong word.
Reactor.
Is reactor. Thank you. A nuclear reactor runs on critical, right?
Yes.
But if you've got a mass of plutonium sitting over there and it's going critical, you want to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, if you're sitting next to it, it's it's bad.
Yeah. So in one way, a nuclear mass is critical, and another way it's good, and another way it's really, really bad.
When you say something's in critical shape, that actually implies, they're in bad shape, right? But if I say a reactor's critical, that means it's operating it's normally acting normally, right? It literally just means that your neutrons that you start with are the same that you end up with.
What you're saying is, every movie we've ever watched where the reactor is now going critical, basically they're saying the reactors are working within operating parameters.
Right. You want to operate in criticality zone.
Right.
Yeah. But there is a point where you tip over that.
Well, you go through different zones. There's subcriticality, which is you don't want to operate with subcriticality because of what's called prompt absorption neutrons. And you could do some really damage to your reactor. But you can go supercritical for a little while too. When you raise rods, it can go supercritical. All that means is you have what's called a K effective. And your K effective is how many neutrons you have in your reactor. If your neutron level is going up, right, your K effective is greater than 1, based upon the 6-factor formula, then you say the reactor is supercritical. If it's the same from generation to generation, it's critical. And if it has less, it's called subcriticality. So it's a lot like biology when we're talking about evolution from generation to generation. It's similar to that. It's from one life cycle of neutrons to another, how many do you have? So critical just means that you have the same amount that what you started with from generation to generation.
Right, but in the movies they just use the term critical because they know that's what people will understand.
Right.
They don't, what they mean is you have an uncontrolled reaction. It's out of control. We're screwed.
Yeah, well that would be bad. That's not a criticality though, right? An uncontrolled reaction is not criticality. And in a reactor, you don't want it uncontrolled. You want a very controlled reactor.
Right. But again, see, that's just the language that's used in the movies because that's what people understand. And that's because somebody started it with the wrong language. Probably when it first came out, people didn't understand what critical meant in a nuclear reactor, and it sounded bad. Critical sounded bad. So people said, well, the reactor is going critical, oh my God. Wait, the reactor runs it. So we've got that misunderstanding. But then again, that's common language. If I watch a movie and I see I don't go, wait a minute, no, sorry, not. I just go with it.
Well, another thing they make a lot of mistakes, and they say, I've noticed in movies, dealing with nuclear power, they'll be like, okay, we need more reactor power. So what they do is they raise rod height, right? They raise the reactor, the rods in the reactor to get more power. Well, you know what? That's wrong.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you do not raise rod height to increase your reactor power. That doesn't happen. Raising the rods is only going to increase your average temperature in the reactor. It's going to create what you call change what's called your delta T, your T average, your T hot and your T cold. That's going to change. It's not going to change your reactor power. The only thing that changes your reactor power is actually your steam demand. So if you open up your throttles, you open up the valve, and you have more steam coming out of the pressurizer going to the steam generator, you actually are lowering that temperature of the water such that it becomes more dense. It's going to become a better moderator. More neutrons are being thermalized, and that's going to raise reactor power because you have more thermalized neutrons. The uranium-235 could absorb them easier, right? Because uranium-235 likes to absorb thermal neutrons. Now, if the water gets colder because I'm taking more energy out of it, and I'm raising my steam demand, I'm taking more energy out of that steam, the water gets colder, that's what raises the reactor power. So, but who's going to get that technical when making these movies? They just say, oh, well, we need more reactor power, let's raise rod height. And this was funny because in my physics class in college, it actually was in a book. And this is what it actually said. It said, they raise reactor power by rod height. And I actually brought it to my instructor's attention, and he didn't know one way or another. But and I did it after class. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to do the one or the last one. Sure.
Yeah, but again, see, somebody got that wrong early on, and it just stuck around, and that's what happens.
Just like maybe it was for more visually effective or something.
Just like with the Big Bang Theory, there's no Big Bang.
Yeah, it's not like it's a single event. It's continuation of expansion of the universe.
It's a wrap. I had somebody
it's blowing up
say
a
to me, well, I had someone say to me, well, what do you call it? One thing, and I forget how they put it. Isn't it an explosion? I said, no. It's a difference between you have an automobile taking off with a rapid acceleration and an automobile exploding.
Well,
that's the difference.
And that's another thing. One thing, like for example, the Big Bang is not an explosion, right? Because an explosion is a volume of mass, something exploding with high velocity in a volume, right?
The supercharged automobile, it's got a jet engine strapped on the back. You put the pedal to the metal and it takes off really, really fast. That's a rapid expansion. If it explodes, that's an explosion. That's the difference. But it doesn't explode. There's no Big Bang.
And I should point out that
But a lot of what we've seen in videos and stuff is, it's an explosion. That's what people are used to saying when they say Big Bang. There's a boom, and you get this super spectacular boom. And it's only been in the past year or two that I've came to understand it was not a explosion. That it was this expansion of space-time.
And I should also note that.
And again, that's that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's only been just a couple of years I've come to understand that.
I'm sure Jade knows this. In physics, there's no such thing as deceleration, right? You don't decelerate. You never decelerate. There's no such thing as deceleration. Now, we all say, colloquially speaking, you put on the brakes, you decelerate, right?
Right.
But if you're talking in physics, that would make no sense because there's only negative acceleration. But this is, again, when you're just talking regularly or talking specifically. And so when Ronnie doesn't understand the concepts between the things like evolution, he doesn't know half the time if people are talking colloquially or they're talking specifically because he doesn't understand the distinction. That's the problem.
Right.
I forgot to say, he didn't understand my thing about the theory. I thought that was odd.
Yeah. And it's like trying to explain to people the difference between centrifugal force and centripetal force. There really is no such thing as centrifugal force.
Right. It's a fictitious force. But it has
right.
It has an effect. I mean,
it's an observation. It's not a force. It's an observation. Centripetal force is a force.
I mean, okay. It depends on what you want to say. I consider them forces, but they're not. Okay, centripetal is a real force. Centrifugal is an illusionary force. But I still call it a force, right? There's only really 4 forces, right? There's 4 fundamental forces, right? Gravity, electromagnetic, strong and weak. But the reality is, even gravity is not a force anymore, right? In relativity, it's not a force.
Right, but we have we have colloquial language, and we generally know what we're talking about. Some people don't. Excuse me. The problem comes in is when they try to make laws on about using their ignorance, or they refuse to understand when you explain it to them. Because I don't know everything. I mean, I don't really know how a nuclear reactor works. I don't know a lot about the social sciences. I don't know a lot about a lot of things. My physics is pretty weak. But I can look it up. Just like there was an argument, I think I've mentioned this before, but on, Red's channel between Red and somebody. I don't even remember what the argument was about, but it was something about thrust in a rocket. And I thought, that works. So I looked it up. And I found an equation that, explained it. Problem is, I don't know where certain parts of the equation came from, because you assume certain things. You assume you got a great big M in there, and then you've got something else in there. Oh, I didn't know where that came from, so I looked that up, and I went, "Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I don't have a big M, I have a big D. Okay, I got to figure out what the big D is." So I went step by step, finding out how each thing.
I just thought that was funny.
You understand what I'm talking about?
A lesbian got to figure out what the big D is.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's basically. I don't even remember what the but you understand what I mean. I'm just kind of saying, big D. I thought you get a kick out of that. But so you get go step by. I went step by step, figuring out how each, how the different the variables, and the different constants in each equation were derived. So I went all the way back down to really basic physics, which I understood. Hello. I have it all written down.
Farewell.
And I intend to sort of go back, because I went from top to bottom. I'm going to rewrite it from bottom up. But that's what I did. Now, I didn't have to do that. I could have just accepted, what Red was saying. And I know he was telling the truth, but just for my own curiosity, I decided to follow these equations down to where I understood. I drew little pictures and everything like that. But that's the thing, is we have the ability to do that. If you don't understand something, you can either accept that the experts know what they're talking about, or the people like Red, who you've heard interpret the experts, and you've heard them interpret properly as far as you can tell, just accept it. I'm not going to argue stuff I don't know. So you either go with the experts, or you do the research yourself. It's these people who go, well, that doesn't make sense. That can't be true. Or, rockets can't operate in space because of vacuum. Did you see that little video with the guy with the vacuum?
Well, they say, it can't operate because there's nothing. They say it can't operate in space because there's nothing for it to exert pressure on. And I'm like, what? I mean, I don't understand how they conceptually don't understand that if you have mass going out of the end of the nozzle, right? That means you're going to exert a net force in the opposite direction. Period. It has nothing to do whether you're in a vacuum or not. Nothing to do with it.
Right. And the whole oxygen thing. Oh my goodness.
They don't know what liquid oxygen is?
Yeah, they take oxygen or something similar, something that has oxidates in it, with them. They're not using the oxygen in space. Wow. They've got their own oxygen, for goodness sakes. It's just like those people who think that the sun, there can't be, all these explosions and things on the sun because there's no oxygen in space. So what could the fire be feeding off of? Seriously, that's so stupid.
Jules.
But they don't understand it.
Hey, Jules, can I read off?
Well, you see, Jay, that's because the sun is made from a giant piece of coal that is burning.
Yeah. Jules says, "I don't know how the fuck you can talk about this heavy shit and raid at the same time." It's like, you know what? It's talent.
Oh.
It's talent, girl. I'm telling you right now.
Well, it's like I was telling Heavy in the inside chat here, like I just feel like I need to open a dictionary and just start screaming words because this is so over my head and I'm just picking flowers at this point. And now we're talking about Jade's cat, so.
Well, Jules, that's how I feel when people are talking philosophy.
Yeah, boy. Oh my God! Did you watch the hangout
Jules,
yesterday?
That's pretty much what the clown car posse does too.
But did you guys hear the Burt Holt and those guys talking yesterday on philosophy? I'm just like, okay, this is just, I am way out of my depth here, guys. Way out of my depth.
Yeah. And I was a philosophy minor. Well, it was one of my minors. I had two majors and two minors in college. And I was a minor. But I've forgotten most of it, except the ancient Greek philosophers. So, if you want to talk to me about, Spinoza or Kant or Hegel or anything like that, I'm like, I've forgotten it all.
They were way beyond Hegel and Kant. I mean, they were talking about this.
Oh, I know, but I'm just even saying, even that I couldn't remember. And I was a big, huge fan of Hegel and Kant in college. And I don't remember that, and that I liked a lot.
Why can't you remember Kant?
I don't know why I can't remember Kant.
Gods and legends.
But yeah, that's how
He's the one with the categorical imperatives, right?
And swift.
Yeah. The thing is, and I keep thinking, maybe I should pick it up again, because I did find philosophy interesting. But the reality is that what I find most interesting is the ancient Greek philosophy, because I find it interesting how they tried to figure out stuff. They're starting from basically zero, and they're trying to figure out stuff. Even though they got a lot of things wrong, it's interesting, like how Plato came across the cave, and the concept of forms, and those sorts of things. It's just atomism, early atomism. How did they come up with these ideas? See, I find that more interesting than modern philosophy. I hate, have to admit it. And so I hear these guys talk, and I keep thinking, well, maybe I should read up on it, and then I kind of forget about it. So yeah, I'm totally lost when those guys are talking.
Yeah.
And the bow on the cat's head. Let me just briefly. Sure. The problem is that the way that picture's cropped, and I keep thinking I should fix it. That's actually a turkey cat. It's a cat wearing a turkey costume. So it's not really a bow, it's like part of the turkey beak.
Oh! Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah. Okay, see, my name on YouTube is Meleagris felis. Meleagris is the genus of turkeys, and felis is the genus of cats, so it basically means roughly.
Yeah. And so Jules, if you look closely at the picture of the cat, you can tell by looking at its eyes, it is now plotting to kill you for dressing it up like a turkey.
We've already, we've already figured that Freddy will kill her one day.
Yeah, if you see the full picture, it really even more so looks like it, because if you've got the mouth in there, it really does look like the cat's going to kill you for dressing it like that. And I did not dress the cat like that. I found that picture on the internet, okay? I did not. Freddy is an orange cat. I did not do that to Freddy.
Am I to assume, Jade, that you can read the inside chat then?
Yes.
Okay.
People outside can't read it unless Steve makes it visible, I think.
Right.
But Steve,
we gotta have some secrets.
From yesterday's conversation there when you had with Bert Poole, I still want someone to give me an answer on what would happen if a colony of ants were to be given the trolley car dilemma.
I think they gave you an answer.
No, they kind of just skirted around it. Would the ants pull the lever or not?
Well, why don't you conduct experiments and get a group of colonies of ants and try to explain to them the trolley problem, and see what moral decisions they make.
Yeah,
I can't even keep the trolley problem straight, because every time it comes up, it's usually brought up and some asshat fucks it up.
Well, I mean, it's really supposed to be more than one problem. You're supposed to do it like a methodology to say, okay, where do you draw the line here?
Yeah.
And by the way, yes, people try to correct me on this before, and they're wrong. You can call it the Charlie problem, not mispronouncing it. It is the trolley or Charlie problem, because Charlie was actually the conductor of the trolley. than the original problem. So they called it the Charlie problem as well, just FYI.
Yeah, it's do you throw the lever or not? And then when you change the parameters of what's on the track, why did you change your decision?
My favorite one we ever did, trying to point out where somebody was going wrong. We got to the point where we say, okay, look, the world's going to blow up and killing everybody on this planet. Person has a hand on the lever. Do you shoot him or not? Do you take his life? Do you make a judgment and you have to take his life, or do you let him blow up the world? And this is for somebody who doesn't believe, you can take somebody's life. They're like, you let him blow up the world. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to let him destroy the entire world, including you and himself, rather than kill him. You have no moral compass. Because that is retarded. And you know who that was?
Heroes, champions.
Trad Owl. Trad Owl said he would let the earth burn and blow up rather than kill somebody that was about to kill everybody. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind.
His corruption would have overwhelmed.
Little known fact, the Dalai Lama actually owns a rifle.
Well, I believe in protecting yourself.
Your triumph restores.
He uses it to shoot birds
would own a rifle.
Fruit orchard.
The allies and saviors will never relent.
By the way, does this count as going through this twice on normal? It does, doesn't it, Jules?
To honor your courage.
Should, right?
What are we talking about?
Oh, you know how you got to go through this 4 times? You only got to do the last boss 4 times, right?
Know that it endures.
We skipped the first boss.
Thanks to what you achieved this day.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about. If you run a raid on normal, it's normal. So
it says collect 4 essences of clarity from Sonaris in the Emerald Nightmare on normal difficulty. Well, how come I can't collect an essence of clarence? I can't get one from him.
If you're in LFR, they don't drop. You have to be in normal or above.
Okay. Thank you. You're so smart. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why that was so easy, because it was on LFR. It wasn't even on normal. Fuck, it's only on normal you drop. Whatever.
What's LFR?
Looking for raid.
There are some quests just like that though that will complete in LFR, looking for raid, but there's a handful, especially like your profession quests, that you have to be on normal or higher.
Yeah, Alan, dude, you didn't tell me that we're on LFR. But anyways, I'm gonna go finish some world quests, dude. I don't want to do any more of that. I want to get these world quests done. I need to do 2 more Kieran tours and some other stuff. But I can do that while we're having a hangout. Let's see. Kieran tours.
Yeah, Jules, a lot of times, like if I'm in a hangout and they're talking about stuff that's kind of over my head, I just sort of go, hey, wait a minute, could y'all back up a little bit and kind of explain this a little more, break it down a little more? And that helps me, and I'm pretty sure there's people that are watching, they're going, yeah, what are they talking about? We need to hear a little more about this, or something.
Yeah, if you ever get confused, Jules, just, say something and say, we'll break it down. I mean, if I can, or, if I can't, then obviously I know other people can. I usually try to because I'm hosting, and so I figure if I can understand it, anybody can understand it. That's my rule of thumb, right?
Oh yeah, and I'm more than happy to attempt to explain something to someone if they have any questions about stuff. I actually like that. I used to make a living as a tutor.
That's the best part of these hangouts, I think, actually, is when we actually explain to people concepts they did not know before.
It's also one of the funniest things, I think, about what Ronnie and G-Man and some of the others say. They'll go, oh, nobody learns anything from Steve's hangouts. They're clearly not listening to too many. Yeah, sure, Steve has hangouts where people are just talking about stuff and maybe nothing great happens. But you've had hangouts where people really explain stuff, and anyone is welcome to come in and ask questions and things like that. And just to really get to, if you don't understand something, ask it, and someone will try their best to explain it, or just look it up. I mean, there are a lot of topics in science I don't understand and maybe interpret. Many years ago, my sister-in-law was studying geology, and she is a music major. She had to take a science class, and geology fit into her schedule. So she asked me to help teach it to her. I knew nothing about geology. She goes, "That's okay. You could do it." And I was just like, "Yeah, no." But she was right. This is when I was in my 20s, because she understood better than I did that I understood the language of science. So I went over there a few times to tutor her, and yes, she was right. I could read the book and I could explain to her what the book said because I understand the language of science. After a few sessions, she, being really smart, picked it up herself and didn't need me anymore. But that's the point. If I don't know something about physics, well, I can look it up and I can probably figure out a way to explain it if I understand it by looking it up. Or geology, and same thing with Steve. I don't think Steve knows a lot about geology.
That's my weakest.
But I'm pretty.
Far. I've said that from day one.
Yeah,
geology is my weakest area of science for some reason.
Yeah, but if someone were to ask you a question, I'd be willing to bet that you could look it up, and you could interpret it for them essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
You could
I'm
go,
not,
I see.
Completely lost, and if it's not a subject I'm comfortable really, talking about that much. Does that make sense?
Or at least off the cuff.
Yeah,
I said,
I can talk about nuclear stuff all the time. I mean, that was all off the cuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm playing a game. I still can talk about neutron life cycles because it was ingrained in me.
Right.
But yeah, geology I couldn't do that with.
I've come across that several times. Like I'll be in a hangout listening to Sam go on about whatever Sam goes on, and I love him. And then Jade or Fiona will butt in and re-explain it in human words, and then I got it. I'm good to go,
Well, sometimes it just takes another person to re-explain it. I tend to do that as well. If I understand something and I get something in here that's completely just make it far more complicated because they know it so well, I'll try to dumb it down for the average person so we go, oh shit, that makes sense. Simplify it,
But yeah, Fiona could do that exceptionally well, but she used to teach.
Right? Yes, yeah. It was more one-on-one.
Yeah, and Hogtie can explain things very exceptionally well. Is probably better than anybody. A difficult concept, I think Hogtie really has the ability to explain people.
Oh yeah, Hogtie's fantastic. And
that's one thing I really love about it. Yeah, that's one thing I really love about the community. Oh, I'm sorry, Jade.
I shall dispose of you.
That's okay. Go for it.
Oh, no, I was going to say that's one thing I really love about the community. This community, we've got people in here that are incredibly brilliant, PhDs and all this stuff, and they know all these things. And like Jade, she may not be a PhD, but she may as well be. I mean, look at all the stuff she knows. I mean, and she can talk about it. It's amazing.
Jade can get an honorary PhD from somewhere if she wanted to, I'm sure.
But even then, but see, I'm just like Trailer Park White Trash. Barely made it out of high school. But I'm talking with these people, and when I don't understand, I go, well, could you explain it? And they love explaining things. That's what's so great is they love to share their knowledge to help you. Yeah, it's great.
A fair amount of my family is Trailer Park White Trash, so I'm kind of fond of Trailer Park White Trash myself. And I also know that that just because you're Trailer Park White Trash doesn't mean you're stupid.
True. Well, I just say that just for effect.
Oh, I know, I do too, because my family, I have certain family members. And my aunt, for example, during the Depression, she lived in an abandoned rail car in Oklahoma with her two little kids. And Oklahoma is about the worst place you could live. To put it this way, she was so poor that the Indians gave her food.
Hey, does somebody place my friend?
So she always.
Does somebody place my friend in a timeout? I'm not watching the live feed.
I don't even know how to do that. I don't even think I'm in the live feed anymore.
My friend Josh, Alejandro, I don't know what he's in on my live feed. But somebody give him a timeout. Don't give him a timeout.
Oh, yeah, I
don't see anybody getting a timeout here.
What?
Annabelle gave him a timeout.
Alondria, what is your handle in the live feed? It's 5 minutes, but I can't override that because it's just there's no way to do it. But yeah, don't give it.
Was it Raptorsaurus?
Could be.
Raptorsaurus got timed out.
Raptorsaurus, and then further back there's someone named Nelson Alonso.
Yeah, why did Raptorsaurus get timed out?
I don't know.
He's my guildie.
I don't know.
Guildies are like brothers, man. Brothers.
One of the problems is you can't look back to see why. So I'm
going to do twos though with my my old roommate. While I'm doing this.
Oh, as Annabelle said, I have timed out 2 socks, none of whom were called Alejandro. both were insulting you.
Yeah, Raptosaurus isn't a sock. He's actually my guilty.
You know, Annabelle, just because people throw out insults doesn't mean they're actually insults. They could be just chiding and
Yeah,
having
by the
fun
way,
with
I don't
somebody.
care. Yeah, I don't care if people insult on my live feed. That's, trolling is different from insulting. If people
That's
are
what
insulting,
guildies do.
if they say
Annabelle.
yeah, that's true. I mean, that's exactly.
Well, I was going to say that I was basically going to say what Headless said. I think that's the misunderstanding, is that when you're dealing with someone that you game with, that the insults are just
Yeah.
I'm gonna
part of the.
Okay, well, Annabelle says they were calling you stupid, Steve, and quite frankly, Annabelle, when you're playing games like what Steve's playing, stupid is a term of endearment.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
You want me
Oh shit.
I was gonna,
well, real quick. I don't care if somebody comes in live feed and they say, "Hey, Steve, you're an idiot." That's fine. If they say, "Hey, Steve, you're an idiot because," and then give me a reason. That's all I ask. Give me an explanation of what I have said wrong. That's fine. If you just come in and start insulting, that's trolling. There's a difference.
Should we talk about how you couldn't target the bird earlier, or?
I was gonna say, you want to hear the craziest thing, or maybe the wildest thing I've ever heard about someone saying during gaming?
What?
There was this woman who wrote an article about the language used in gaming and why some people get so upset, and maybe you should calm down a little bit. And she was talking about her son and her husband were playing a game together. And she said the language gets pretty bad, but it's not serious. It's gaming. And at one point, her son yelled to his dad, "I've been further inside Mom than you ever have."
Okay. Yeah.
And that's a bit out there, but the point she was trying to make is that when people start, shit talking and gaming, it just gets way out there sometimes. And you shouldn't necessarily judge someone by the language they use, because it builds on, one person says something, another person tops that, another person tops that, another person tops that, and the next thing you know, you've got some huge crazy thing being said.
So to all the SJWs
like fucking
out
your dead
there,
mother in the skull.
So for all the SJWs that are out there, draw a chalk circle around yourself and get the fuck out of our safe space.
Yeah. Well, see, that was my problem with Gamergate. I understood that they were making some points, but they were dealing. What you had is you had a bunch of people go into a world that they were completely unfamiliar with, and they were trying to judge that world by their standards.
Exactly.
It's a bit like if we were to find ourselves in 19th century London, and we're going to judge, and there's a reason I chose that time, and that we're going to judge what's happening there by our standards today.
How scandalous, Jade, you're showing ankle.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Nina Sarkeesian played that up to no end for profit.
I know.
Seriously,
and that's what I objected to that, is that you guys don't understand. You're in a different world. Stop it. And one of the things that bothers me about that, too, is that I've seen the reverse. I've seen people make comments about, feminism and feminist theory, and not understanding that they're in a different world, that there are words that have certain meanings, phrases that exist. Because, I've studied, I've studied feminist theory. I've studied, I've taken women's studies. I was heavily involved in the early second wave feminist movement.
I would normally mock her for that, right? But I'm not going to, right? But feminist.
Well, but the point I'm trying to make is
hold on.
Oh, shit.
Time out, Jade. Steve, when Jade was studying this, it was actually a serious topic, not the joke that it's become today.
Okay, fair enough.
You understand? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The problem is, okay, the best way I can look at it is concentric spheres. Okay, at the center of the sphere, you have serious research being done. And you have a particular language that is attached to certain things. The language isn't always accurate, just like Big Bang Theory mean there's a Big Bang. Just like the patriarchy doesn't necessarily mean everybody's patriarchal and mean and oppressive. That's not what it means. We are referring to a particular type of environment. And it's actually best not to say the patriarchy. It's best to refer to a patriarchal society.
Yeah, there you go.
Serious research being done, and there's language that is used in that sphere. In some cases, it's incorrect, strictly incorrect. Like oh God, what's the rape one? I forget. That I don't like that term.
Rape culture.
Rape culture. Rape culture is actually a very serious thing. It's a very bad term. Okay, so there's real research going on, and then you get to a circle around that, and this is where the people who are generally just new at studying the subject, and they're running off with ideas, but they don't completely understand.
And they're all over
mistake
Facebook
things.
making memes.
No. That's
No.
the next.
Oh, that's the next circle. Okay.
Circle. Yeah. Because that's the people who grab onto ideas and concepts and run with them like children with knives, not knowing the damage they could cause to themselves and to others. That's the problem that we have. What we're mostly seeing is this outside circle. It's people who hear something like rape culture and go, "Oh yes, everything is rape culture. Everything is rape. Hey, rape.
Yeah, they're appropriating the term incorrectly. Sure.
Exactly. And yes, I will agree many times over and over that it's a bad term. It's stuck because someone once defined it that way. Someone said, this is what we're going to call rape culture. And what it has to do with, it's an attitude in certain segments of society. Women are looked at as being just sexual objects, and it doesn't make any difference whether they consent or not. And we see this particularly in some fraternities, not all, but in some in college, where you will see men write books or little pamphlets and things on how to have sex with a woman, and part of that is get her drunk. That's what's wrong. That's when you have this attitude that it's okay to have sex with a woman without her consent. That's when you're talking about rape culture. You're talking about a generally speaking, a small sphere where there's certain attitudes exist. And that's a bad thing. And the problem is that people will fall into that and they'll pick up these bad habits. Like years ago in Long Beach, where high school students were actually busted because and this happened other places as well, but the one in Long Beach I remember, because these high school boys were having these lists of how many women could we sleep with and how could we get them to sleep with us. And it was just, on the one hand, you go, oh yeah, sure, that's what guys do. But it's, on the other hand, it's how they were doing it. It's not like I'm going to date this girl, I'm going to get her to like me, and I'm going to have sex with her. That's just the part of the game. It's, I'm going to date this girl, and oh yeah, I'm going to take the roofies. That's the difference.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, I understand guys will be guys, and I know a lot of people don't like that expression, boys will be boys, but there's a difference between boys being boys, chasing after women, and and somebody using roofies or trying to convince somebody to have sex as rape culture. That there is such a thing when it comes to that. Yeah. There's a huge difference. Huge.
And when I was when I was in college, they used to, I stayed far away from the fraternity scene, because back then there used to be what was called a Purple Passion Punch. Okay. Purple Passion Punch was a combination of a concentrated, frozen Welch's grape juice, which is where the purple came from, and like 98 proof, not 98%, not 9 proof alcohol, which was created in the chemistry lab. Okay. The thing is, when you get alcohol to that proof, you don't really know you're getting drunk. Okay. So the whole point of this Purple Passion Punch was to get girls drunk so they could have sex with them. So this isn't just boys will be boys. This is rape culture. This is, I don't care what she wants. I care what I want, and I'm going to get there any way I can, including deliberately getting her drunk, using a substance that I know that she's not going to be aware of what's happening to her. That's when you're talking about rape culture.
Yeah.
But again, it's a bad
term. I'm playing a game here, and I get all serious and shit. And I screwed up on my
but again, it's a bad term. So when you're talking about scholars who are talking about rape culture, that's what they're referring to.
Yeah.
We're not. But then when you get to people to the outside fringe, all of a sudden our entire culture
on the
is rape
subway.
Culture. Yeah. Well, there is actually. Well, first of all, that first started as a semi-serious joke, and then people took it seriously.
And just remember, Jade, For every man who manspreads on the subway, there's a woman with all those bags from shopping doing the same thing.
No kidding. No kidding. No kidding. But it started as a semi-serious joke. It really wasn't serious at first, although, women were noticing this. And, my point of view with that, as with many other things, is just ask the guy. Say, hi, would you mind? Because most of the time with anyone, and just like years ago, we had this big thing going on here with kids hanging out on the street, taking up the sidewalk, and oh my God, they're awful. And yet I was in my 30s at the time and hardly, I didn't look like a kid. And I would go, there was a bookstore that was really popular, and the kids would hang out and they'd sprawl all over the sidewalk. But if I walked up to them, they wouldn't move because they're kids. They're, teenagers. I'd just go, oh, excuse me. And all of a sudden, all the legs would move. It was like the parting of the Red Sea. I'd walk through, and then they'd all go back to where they were. Nobody said a word to me because, of course, I'm an adult, and they're kids, and they're not going to talk to adults. But all you have to do is ask. I'm the adult. All I would have to do, that's all I had to do. And same thing on the bus. People would go, or when I went to San Francisco and I took the subway, people make all these complaints about, well, these kids, they won't let you sit anywhere. You know what? If you just say, hi, do you excuse me? Would you mind? Boom. They get their stuff out of the way and you've got a place to sit. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for these people who seriously complain about things like that. If they themselves are not being just mildly proactive, because someone sits on the subway, I don't care who you are. You got your bags with you, or your, men, and men do spread their legs because it's more comfortable. And you're just comfortable, and you're not thinking of anything else except, oh, I'm just sitting down, I'm comfortable. So you're not necessarily seeing what's going on around you. But if someone goes, oh, could you move your bags? Would you mind moving your legs? Most people will go, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So don't complain if you're not doing anything about it. Now, if there were men all over the subway, or women all over the subways who never, ever, ever moved their stuff, whatever their stuff was, then you'd have cause for making a fuss. But you'd have to prove that existed first, as far as I'm concerned.
What about wage gap?
That's real.
Well, yes and no. Depends.
What about the people who debunk it?
Yeah,
they're full of shit.
I don't know what you mean by wage gap. It depends what you mean by wage
gap. Well, they're
gap.
not full of shit. Yeah, see, the problem is...
There's a nominal wage gap, but most of the wage gap they've discovered is just because women are not aggressive in renegotiating their contracts.
No, that's not true. That's where the problem is. They're being cut out from the very beginning. So, for example, they used the example of women in medicine. Women aren't going into these fields. Well, that's because if you talk to the women doctors, which people bothered to do, you will find out that those who tried to go in those fields were discouraged by the men in the field.
And then it might have been true during the day. I don't think that really is the case anymore, though. I don't see that happening. I think women are more actively...
No, it's not happening so much anymore. It's not happening so much anymore. But when you look at...
So you're saying that if it's not happening so much today, the wage gap then is shrinking.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yes, but that's not being brought up by anyone who brings up wage gap.
Then that's a problem. They should be doing that, but they aren't. You're right.
Right.
But when you look at a wage gap today, especially for people who've been in, where you really see the wage gap is where you see people who've been employed for 10, 20 years, who started working when this was a bigger problem. So they didn't advance as far and make as much money over all those years. But yes, it's less of a problem now. And in some fields, things have switched a bit. For example, most veterinary students now are women. And they are still being discouraged to some extent to go into large animal work. That's still happening. But on the other hand, we've got a lot of hands here. The young women who are going into veterinary medicine are of a different generation. And when they get discouraged, they just go, oh, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Whereas the women of a previous generation, maybe even just 10 years ago, would be cowed to that a bit more because of the way they were raised. They would, well, all right, I guess you're right. Maybe I shouldn't work with large animals because I couldn't handle them. So you've got some, 5'9" woman handle a large animal. You've got some 5'6" guy who can. Seriously. So you see what I'm saying. So it's changing. Yes, it's changing. There are still problems. Like I said, even though most vets are women, women are still being discouraged from going into large animal work. But more of those women are just saying, yeah, right, sure, no problem, I'm going to large animal work, screw you. Problems. And but the way to deal with it is kind of the way that science is dealing with it. STEM studies are doing with it. You see, because I'm subscribed to a lot of scientists on Twitter, women and men, and it doesn't make any difference. Women in science are going out there and they're encouraging young women to get into STEM, and men are doing it too. That's the way to do it. That we don't need Twitter, women and men, and it doesn't make any difference. Women in complaining about things like this, I guess you could say, women in science and women in STEM. They're not doing anything about it. They're just complaining about it. When at the grassroots level, the stuff I see coming through my feed are how men and women in science are encouraging young women. They have all these different programs to encourage young women, even in elementary school. They're bringing things to elementary school, and not just for women. It's not like they go to a fourth grade class and go, boys leave, we're going to talk to the girls. No, they go into the fourth grade class, they teach them all about science, but part of the main reason is to get the girls energized about science as well. So these things are actually happening. And yeah, it is a problem. We need more women in STEM. But if you look at I think I posted about the real hashtag, like I am a real scientist hashtag.
It's something like that. Now that makes sense.
Okay, because that was just fun. Because to me, it was fun looking at all those different scientists and what they did.
Yeah.
But if you looked at that, if you followed that hashtag, and you looked at all those scientists, you'd see there are a lot of women there.
Mm-hmm.
So if just looking at that hashtag and all the respondents, you would be hard pressed to say that there is a shortage of women in STEM. The areas like engineering, but it clearly is changing. Yeah, but I put that hashtag up there just because I thought it was fun to look at the hashtag and look at all the different things people did. Hi, I'm a scientist and I do this. I'm a scientist and I do this. And some really kind of cool stuff. Notice there's a lot of women there.
Hey, did Ronnie make another video during mine or something that I missed?
Yeah, the 10-minute one?
Yeah, that what you were referring to. What was that about? Was that something during my hangout?
Yeah, I think it started. No, it wasn't.
Steve
I don't think it had any.
That one.
I think it started about the same time your hangout did, or just before. I'm not sure of the timing, but it didn't have anything to do with this hangout. What he was basically did is he said, I've only seen the beginning of it, but he basically said he took down the hour hangout because he thought it was kind of all over the place, and so he decided to do this little 10-minute, 13-second or whatever it was hangout to condense it. That's his basic idea, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
And what is he? So basically, he went from an hour being stupid to 10 minutes being stupid.
Yeah, and it's called Steve at It Again.
Yeah.
Was his connection any better second time around?
I only saw the very beginning, and here's the link again to it inside. So a little bit better.
I would love for Ronnie to explain what I've been wrong on. He has yet to do so.
But you're not going to get it.
I know he's not. I know that's never going to happen. Never
he just
going to happen.
Babbles. He just babbles, and you're wrong. Everybody's wrong. He's corrected everybody. No one's corrected him. Everybody's a liar. And that's I think there's
my key bindings are so jacked right now. I don't know which action bar is what. If you're watching me do this, it's because I don't know which one is what. I like to have my key binds a specific way.
It's still recharging.
Mm-hmm.
You're not watching what I'm doing, are you?
I'm gonna have to head out here now, but thanks for letting me join and be a part
of course, anytime.
I can't. I'm not, a little shy and can't really bring much to the table, but it was nice to feel like I was part of the group.
Always.
Well, it was nice to meet you, Jules, and feel free to come into anything I'm in and ask me anything you want.
I might take you up on that.
Yeah,
I will warn you, Jules. Though Jade can just keep talking for hours, so careful what you do after.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing you need to know, Jules. It's okay to tell me to shut up.
Well, I think it's great because one little thing about everything on the planet. I mean, I could throw anything at you and you're going to be able to tell me a fun fact.
Well, I think I've pointed out before, I'm more of a generalist than a specialist. I know a lot of stuff about a lot of things, but not in very great depth. So, yeah. But yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you anytime. And most people in this community are like that, I think.
And what you don't know, you can point people in the right direction to find out. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or I can look it up and find people to Oh, and I want to say something just because it's cool. So I'm subscribed on Facebook to an Egyptologist called Kara Cooney, who's really cool. And she's at I have a friend of mine who has a daughter who has a chronic illness, who is she's 17 now, and she's always wanted to be an Egyptologist. So my friend wrote to Kara Cooney. Kara Cooney is going to be in Kansas City, and my friend lives in Kansas, not far from there. And she wrote to Kara Cooney, just cold, said, "Hi, I have this daughter, and she'd really like to be an Egyptologist." And Kara Cooney, who doesn't know my friend from anything, has agreed to let my friend and her daughter come up and meet her and talk with her while she's in Kansas City. And the point I'm making here is, here's a scientist who, just contacted by just somebody out of the blue. And what's her response is, "Yeah, sure, great. I'd love to talk to your kid about it. I would like to talk to both of you about it." Because honestly, that's the way a lot of scientists are. I have another friend of mine who had this idea, and he was a little hesitant, but he wrote up his idea, and he sent it to a very well-known physicist in the field. That the physicist wrote him back, said, "That's really cool. Here's some suggestions I have," and they've started a conversation. And I found this out myself. Most people, if they're, I've mostly dealt with scientists, but it works with other fields. If you have a question and you ask them, they'll respond. Most scientists, they're excited that you want to know about what they're doing. And so for some of the people like in the clown car posse to claim that science is wrong, this, that, and the other thing, they have the same ability the rest of us do. If there's a scientist there with a university, they have a university email, you can look it up. You can send them messages, and more times than not, you'll get a response. No excuse for these people with their just blatant stupidity out there. And I'm not even going to say ignorance, because ignorance is when you honestly don't know something. Stupidity is when you don't bother to find out. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and so the knowledge is out there. If you can't find it on the internet, or if you don't understand it, email someone. Find 4 scientists that study this and email them. You'll probably get 4 answers back. But and there are forums that are filled with scientists that will help you with these things, and email groups and things like that. So just don't be shy, and I mean, remember, even if you think, "Oh my God, they're going to think I'm stupid," they don't know who you are anyway. So who cares? On top of which, I just about guarantee you that every scientist out there knows that they're stupid in some way or another.
I remember I used to hang out at Phil Platt's Bad Astronomy Forum, and there were like scientists from all kinds of different fields of study. And they were like, "What you talking about?" You get in there and they're talking about this stuff, and you just ask questions, explain it, Yeah, it's great. They love to, like I said about y'all, love to share the knowledge,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could have a paleontologist in there going, "Whoa, that's really cool. How's that work?" Because they don't know anything about astronomy. It just because they're used to science and asking questions. So never ever, anyone out there listening, anyone in here, never ever be afraid to ask a question. Even if someone laughs, they're probably not laughing at you. Laughing because the question is just constructed oddly or something. And don't worry about it. Even if they do laugh, they'll probably then recover from it and go, okay, here's where you went wrong. Just don't take it personally if it happens. It does happen occasionally, because sometimes people do ask very strange
there are
questions.
dumb questions. But again, it isn't so much they're dumb questions. It's questions that are asked repeatedly over and over again, expecting different answers.
Hey, if we came from monkeys, how come there's still monkeys?
Yeah, that kind of bullshit.
And yeah, someone asked me that question, I'd have a tough time not laughing, even if the person was really sincere. I'd have a tough time. I'd be going, oh, okay, okay. Hang on, let me explain this to you. But it's gonna happen. And again, that wouldn't be personal. I wouldn't be laughing at them personally. I would be laughing
All
because
right,
I've
let's
heard
try
this
this
question
again.
1,000 times, and it
Earlier today,
gets tiresome. It just gets kind of funny actually because it just doesn't go away, and it betrays a really basic misunderstanding of what's going on. But I'm not going to blame the person because they've probably been taught that way. They've probably been taught a whole bunch of crap.
Yeah, I found his other video, but I'm not going to watch it right now, by the way. But anyways, guys, do you guys want me to keep this going? I mean, we only got 50 people watching, so it's like dying out, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I got to go anyway pretty soon.
Let me think here real quick. So anyways, let me do a quick wrap up. By the way, Sharp, sorry I didn't get you, darling. I saw you pop in, but...
I'm just bored.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could keep this going, but it's good.
Just keep it open.
You want me to?
Yeah, you can take it off air, but just keep it open.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. I'm not going to... The room stays open regardless.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And yes, I am on Jade's Facebook. Yes. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it's only like 24 people watching. So, don't forget the hangout on Friday, a week from today. It's going to be General Han Solo and Floyd. And that's going to be interesting. Either the Bible talks about a global flood or a local flood. And what's really interesting is Floyd is an atheist arguing for a global flood. So he doesn't believe it actually happened, obviously, but he thinks that the Bible,
Well, he's arguing the literal interpretation.
Yeah. But anyways, in a nutshell, I just wanted to say, I'm glad people liked my video. I'm sorry about the audio. Arcane Logos was trolling all over it. I eventually blocked him because he doesn't add anything to any conversation. And again, I don't mind people spewing shit, but I mean, at least have something productive. But anyways,
I respect the craft.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have a high-end system, and the audio sounded fine to me in my movie maker. I had somebody listen to it. They didn't tell me the audio was low, and so I posted it. Whatever, it happens, right? But as far as the content, there's not much else we can really do with Ronnie. I mean, my only call out is if anybody thinks Ronnie is right on anything, if anybody who listens to my videos and Ronnie's videos, anyone, if they think Ronnie's right, that including Matthew's Ecclesiastes, that includes Vecco and anyone, I'll be happy to explain to them one-on-one why he's wrong. In detail, in colored graphics, using PowerPoint presentation, whatever it takes. I'll be happy to do those. So, will they take me up on that? No. No, they won't. But, I mean, it's not even at the point anymore. This is enjoyable. It is just Ronnie's spewing bullshit. Ronnie's an idiot. There's nothing else we can do about it. I'm enjoying making videos confronting him, but I would really wish he would say some new faux pas. I mean, let's move into new territory. This mistakes that he's made, he's never going to correct. He's never going to say that he's wrong on it. We know that. But the vast majority, I would say 99.9%, realize he's wrong. What else are we going to do? I mean, where else are we going to go from that? Right? So anyways, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'm going to go back to my game. Anybody wishes to join me, they can. I'm Lilo on Silvermoon. I'm just messing around with things right now because I'm customizing my build so I can get into some more heavy-duty actual player versus player PvP. Okay, with that, I'm going to end the hangout, and I will see you guys this weekend.